This is the Columbus Comics Corner podcast, episode 1. Thank you for listening.
On the street right now, Luke Cage, you already know. Bulletproof, love your way, brother. Let's get it. Listen. Man, it is what it is. Can't understand a man if you ain't live what he lived. Roaches in the crib, ain't got no food up in the fridge. Plus the crime running rampant and it's screwing up the kids. Sway a minute, what kind of paradise is this? I just want my 40 acres and some cash on the wrist. But the snakes are trying to gather in the bed where you get the cotton out, plucking ashes off the clip. Off the rip, now a challenger exists. Any bulletproof.
Introduce yourself to everyone and how did you get into comics and all that good stuff?
Well, a lot of people who know me call me KA, or K for short. I got into comics when I was probably about 6 or 7. We had Dare, which I'm not sure how many states out there have Dare. We had Dare in Columbus.
Oh yeah.
And they came one day to our class, and they actually gave us a Marvel comic book that was about not smoking. And that was my introduction to comics.
Damn, they had. I used to live in Atlanta, but they didn't do that in Atlanta or when I came here. I wish they would have done that when I came here for Dare. That'd have been dope.
Oh yeah, it surprised me because I had never knew what a comic book was, and they gave it to us, and it actually featured Marvel superheroes in it, and I was like, who are these people? And the what you did in the comic was you read through the story, and it was about a kid being peer pressured by bullies into smoking.
Okay.
And throughout the story, there were 3 Marvel superheroes in it, telling him like, you shouldn't do this. And the main villain was he was called like Smoke or Smog or something. He was like some villain they made up for the story.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end of the story, the kid has a word bubble. There's a blank word bubble, and the bullies are like, "What do you want to smoke?" And then it was up to you to fill in what he says. And that was my first introduction to comic books. A little bit later, my dad took me to an actual comic book store. And I remember walking in and being like, what is this?
Yeah.
They gave these out at school. I know this person and this person. And then on and off again through the years, I kind of would revisit learning about superheroes. It actually wasn't until I was grown that I actually got deep into comics because, where I grew up, the people I grew up with, like liking comics wasn't really the thing for me to do. So it was kind of like frowned upon in my neighborhood.
Yep.
So that was basically my introduction. And now I'm grown. I got a job. I have money. I can go get comics when I want and learn whatever I want to learn about whatever superhero and not feel bad about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Spend it wisely nowadays. There's just so much out there. So much. But cool. Well, to everyone, my name is Ryan. I grew up with my brother and my mom in Atlanta originally, and he was a huge comic fan, like mad long boxes and whatnot. And I'd scan through them every once in a while. I'd read them, but at that age, I didn't know what I was actually like reading. I was just, oh, these are sweet, Batman. But yeah, Batman became like my first that's my dude, first superhero I clung to, and was like, especially when Batman 89 came out, I saw it in 93, and I was like, yeah, Michael Keaton. But yeah, then we moved here. I took a break for a while from reading comics. I read a little bit, and then I just started playing in bands and whatnot, and didn't revisit it until probably about three years ago now. So I had to catch up on a lot of stuff and go back and read some old stuff that I used to love. Like the Titans and Batman were my thing when I was younger. So I was I had to go and get Judas Contract, and then I was a fan of Daredevil. Do you remember the trading cards they had?
Oh, I still have a stack of trading cards sitting over here.
Yeah,
I still have them. the tops, and the fleers and stuff. I still have those.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. I used to love those and flipping through those. Oh, this character's awesome, and Daredevil was one of them. And I didn't read his stuff until I got older, so I read the Frank Miller. I read all of his stuff, his issues through, and Ed Brubaker is another guy who who's a great writer for Daredevil, and he went on to write some like crime noir that I really love. That stuff. But since then, I've been reading comics religiously again now, and with Rebirth going on, and me being like a DC kid, I love both. I love all the indies, Marvel, DC. Even though Marvel's kind of bumming me out right now, but they'll get better. I think they just need to get past the Civil War.
Yeah, they gotta find their footing.
Yeah. But no, I mean, DC Rebirth's been great. There's still like good books in Marvel right now, but I think a lot of it's togged down by Civil War and all the tie-ins.
Yeah, it's kind of holding up a lot of their good heroes because they use them for that storyline.
Which would be funny when we talk about Wolverine, because that's the first Civil War tie-in book that I bought, and it was definitely worth it.
Okay, well, I can't wait to get there because I started when they first got out of Secret Wars 2 reading the all-new Wolverine. Because I was a fan of Logan, but I liked when they introduced X-23. Like, I didn't like, was it Dakin? His son, Deacon?
Yeah, I fell off I read Old Man Logan when I came back to comics, and then like I didn't follow like X-23 after that. So this was like, it was actually refreshing to read something new.
Well, I think the way that they picked up with X-23 is a good way, since you've never really read her or followed her. You kind of get us in the character and her relationship she had with the 616 Logan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get there. So you went to the Cincy Expo, Stan Lee's last Midwest appearance.
Yes, I got the Stanley Experience package.
Nice.
Drove all the way down from Columbus and Cincinnati. That's like an hour and 40-something minute drive.
Not far at all.
No, not far. I was there the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I went to his panel, went to his autograph signing, like got the whole experience. It was pretty good. That's definitely something that's been on a bucket list that I've had. Like that's one thing I wanted to do before I die, was I wanted to meet Stan Lee.
Yeah, for sure.
And I did get to meet Stan Lee. Funny guy. He's hilarious. His panel was ridiculous. Like if he wanted to, he could be a comedian.
Right.
The package was interesting because like they gave you the VIP badge, which was already autographed, and then they give you a poster that that you can get autographed, and then you get one item of your own choice to have autographed.
Okay, like a selection of things.
And yeah. When it's all said and done, you walk away with I walked away with about 3 Stanley autographs.
That's sweet.
I got the picture with Stan, and then I see some people got it on Friday, and they didn't have the machine up, so they had to wait till Saturday to get their picture.
Okay.
I got mine Saturday, walked out the booth, and they had my picture ready for me as soon as I walked out. So he signed the picture. I had a Fantastic Four comic that he wrote that was the second appearance of Black Panther, and it was his origin story. So he signed that.
Nice, that's good.
Getting that, I sent that off to get graded and wrapped and everything. Like I'm waiting for that to actually be sent back to me now. And I got the poster signed. His panel was good. His panel was on Friday, and during his panel, a lot of people asked a lot of questions about creating certain heroes and how he felt about the movies and his guest appearances in the movies. Mm-hmm. Then somebody actually, at the end of it, asked Stan if they told him that they heard he was a ordained minister and could marry people. And he's like, well, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, you can marry me and my fiance tonight.
Ah, perfect.
So Stan actually married somebody at his panel.
Good for them.
I think the YouTube video was up. I think there was people taking pictures and recording stuff. So I'm pretty sure that YouTube video was floating around somewhere.
Okay, I bet. I know he's filmed. I guess he's filmed like 4 guest appearances so far.
Yeah.
I
found that out when Yeah, I found that out when I came back that he had actually already filmed, like, I guess, I don't know if it's his next 4 appearances or if it's just 4 appearances to be determined what movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I found out he filmed 4. I mean, Stan is what, like 93 now?
Yeah, I think 93, 94 now.
Yeah, so, I mean, with him stopping his appearances and everything, like, he knows it's about time for him to start winding down. And I'm sure Marvel does too, so they're probably like, it's Stan. You know, people want to see Stan in these movies, so let's at least make sure that we have 4 appearances. And I'm guessing that that's probably going to be Doctor Strange.
Yep.
I'm sure he's probably going to pop up in Infinity Wars. I don't know if he's going to pop up in both of them, but he'll probably at least be in one of them.
Probably Guardians for sure, too.
And then Guardians again, so that's what, 3?
I think Ragnarok is after that.
Ragnarok, yeah.
I wish it was
I think
Black
Ragnarok is
Panther.
after Strange.
Hopefully.
I think it's Strange, Ragnarok, Guardians, and then I don't know if there's something else before Infinity.
I bet, though, well, now that I think about it, I bet they'll use one for Black Panther. They have to.
I forgot about Black Panther.
Yeah.
How did I forget about Black Panther?
I think they'll save one. Hopefully they do. Cross our fingers they save one.
Well, I know he was talking about how he did the Deadpool cameo. And then the Deadpool cameo, he said he was essentially like on a green screen, and then they added the girls and stuff in later. So he wasn't even on set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Stan Lee's, he said he was mad about that. He was like, he saw the movie and was like, oh, I could have did that live.
Oh, yeah, I would have meant, yeah.
So when he said that, it's like, yeah, if they're going to film him like on a green screen or something, they can kind of insert it in wherever they want.
Yeah, he can be anywhere he wants to be, yeah. Hopefully, I'd rather him be on set and enjoy it.
I would too. But overall, the Stan Lee experience was awesome. Like I said, funny guy, even with his age and everything, he's still quick. Like his thinking, like his off the cuff comments and jokes was just ridiculous. That's good. Somebody like that could just snap and just come up with something. If you say something to Stan, he's immediately got a response for you.
Yeah, ready.
No thinking about it, immediate. But that was fun. The expo itself was fun.
Yeah, I saw Rob Liefeld posting out some pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, me and Rob Liefeld had a slight issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way they marketed the convention. The way they marketed the convention was there were bonus packages you could get. So for like an extra $10, they had like a Suicide Squad. I think it was variant cover to the convention, and then the artists were on hand and they would sign the covers for you.
Okay.
Same thing with Rob. They had a Deadpool variant, and they were like, well, you pay, get the variant, and then you go back and sign it for you. Go back there, and he's like, he's waxing for autographs, and then, which is understandable. Mm-hmm. That's how a lot of these artists and stuff make their money at the conventions, through autographs.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the exclusives, like the exclusives, are normally like what the other ones were, where you're paying this extra money to get the comic, and then the artist will sign this one for free. Okay. Anything else you want, they're going to charge you for. This one's supposed to be for free.
Makes sense, yeah.
So he said, I guess, that he wasn't signing those for free. And then he also told me specifically that wasn't even like any of his artwork. He said somebody else did that variant cover.
Wow.
And then there was a couple people behind me that had the same issue where they were like, well, the site says one thing, and then now we're getting here and we're saying something else.
Something totally different.
Yeah, it turned out it was some kind of big confusion between his people and the convention, where the convention was saying, well, he never really told us directly that he would sign these, or nothing necessarily against him, but it was
things. I mean, when it comes, I feel like when it's coming to a convention, an event, everyone should be on the same page, like type of thing. Like, I don't know, everyone sees the advertisement, like, there's contract signed, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's contract signed, but I'm sure for some people, obviously.
That's what it ended up coming down to, was like everyone was like, well, this is what the site says. And they're like, well, he never really officially agreed to it. And everyone's kind of like, so, we got these for nothing. And like I said, nothing against him and his people, but he was cleaning up. Like, people like next to Stan Lee, he probably had the most successful booth up there for the
Who else?
talent that was there doing autographs and stuff.
Who else was there?
They
Anyone
had
else?
a bunch of artist wise. No, it was a lot of people from like the original Star Wars movies were up there.
Okay. Oh yeah, I saw
Um,
that. Darth Vader dude. I forget his name.
yeah,
Was
he
there?
was up there. I can't think of his name, but he played Jay Garrick on the Flash TV
Oh
show.
yeah, Teddy Sears.
Well, I don't know who I was
Wait,
going to see
well,
this, but he played
a
Jay Garrick
Flash.
in the
Yeah, in the
beginning
beginning.
of the series. In the beginning,
In the beginning.
yeah,
Yes.
he was up there. I'm gonna slaughter his name. Bruce from Gotham was up there.
Oh, Gotham. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't talk about Gotham.
you don't talk about Gotham. Gotham's not that bad, and he was funny. His panel was fun. I went
That's
to his
cool.
panel,
That's cool.
but I mean that was it. It was a good experience. Like I plan on going to the Cincinnati Expo again next year, as well as going to the Columbus Wizard World. So I go every year to the Columbus Wizard World.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking out the Cincy one. Like, I'm not big. Like, I like cons, but I'm not like I wouldn't go to San Diego. Like, that's just too many people. Like, I feel like it'd be like the traffic. I'm sure the experience would be wild, but yeah, I feel like the traffic jam and getting throughout there will be like, woof.
It's funny because that's actually something else that's on my list. Is
Yeah.
I want to go to at least one San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah, no
At least
doubt.
the whole time, the whole week or whatever. I want to take the whole week and go.
Oh yeah, stay in San Diego. My fiance she got back from San Diego 2 weeks ago. She went out there with her sister and cousins. I was jealous. Stuck here.
It's like it's not fair. It's not fair.
No. Was there anything else about the expo that was good for you?
I mean, from a fan perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing I like about expos is when you're trying if you haven't been collecting for years, like I haven't really been collecting for years. Kind of similar to you, like I got back into comics like a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then started actually collecting them. And as you know, there's certain stories you got to go back and reread, or ones that you missed.
Yeah.
So I feel that conventions are a good way to actually like find those stories.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of back issues and whatnot.
Yeah, like I wanted to. I never read. What is it? Conquest of Champions. Is that what it was? Marvel had the Conquest of Champions. I think it was like one of the follow-ups to the Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think it was Contest of Champions. I never read it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, so I actually found it at the convention, and then I found
Nice.
part 2 at the convention. I know when I went to the Columbus one a couple years ago, I was trying to get the DC Marvel crossovers from the 90s.
Oh yeah. I was just listening to a podcast about. I need to read those. But yeah, I was listening to a podcast about those.
Yeah, well, I remember lightweight having some of those. Like I had the what was the Amalgala when they finally crossed everybody over for like a year or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like the Super Soldier, and I think I had like the Amazon. I had a couple of them growing up,
That's cool.
but when I got back into collecting, I was like, I want to make it a point to get DC Marvel crossovers because that's something that may never happen again.
No, yeah,
Like,
for
with the
sure.
way- With the way movies and stuff are going, and the way that they're getting so competitive with animated movies, live action movies,
Even
is
even Marvel themselves, they're fighting with Fox and Sony, not really fighting with Sony, I guess anymore, but yeah, even that's
Fox.
even that's still crazy. Like, even trying to get that to crossover, it's sad.
Yeah, well, see, with that stuff going on, I was like, I should probably try to go back and get these because these are going to eventually start becoming a little bit harder to find, and we're probably not going to get any new ones. So the last couple of years, I spent time at the convention trying to track down all of the crossovers, like the Batman, Daredevil,
For sure.
Spider-Man versus Superman type stuff, and then the storyline from the 90s. So that's why I like conventions. Is if you're trying to collect something, it's a little easier to go to a convention and find it
Mm-hmm.
than it is sometimes to go to your local comic shop.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I couldn't find JLA Avengers at my local comic shop, but I went to the Comic Con and sure enough, somebody had the whole run of JLL Avengers.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to hit you up with a guy that he lives down the street from me actually. He he goes to conventions and sells all of his collection too. So I'll send you his info, and
Oh yeah,
you can
I
hit
think I
him
need
up and
that.
see what he has for sure. Yeah, he has a bunch of long boxes, which is good.
That sounds like me. I got a 4 or 5 long boxes, and at least 3 or 4 of them are filled with stuff I still got to read. So
Yeah, right now, like the paperbacks I've been the well, I guess the floppies I've been getting have been like I guess recently the newer stuff, but like a lot of the collections, I get trade paperbacks.
yeah,
Sometimes to save money, other times just to like not have like 20 boxes, you know what I mean, laying around, and then have to move them someday.
yeah. That's kind of how I am with the trades. Sometimes it is easier just to get a couple trades, and you got
hmm
those storylines. Sometimes I want the physical single
Yeah, same
issues.
here, same here. Like I when I got back, like I started reading comics again. I would go to like half price and get like some back issues,
Oh
but a
yeah,
lot of the stuff I was like reading on a tablet, and it was just like I got through it, but it just wasn't the same. So like,
it's not the same as having it in your hand and
yeah,
turning the page and feeling it.
exactly. Like having that floppy, like man. So yeah, half price is was a good spot for me to get a lot of stuff to like catch up on and whatnot. Not
Yeah,
to not to drop
I've
half
gone to half
price.
price.
They can sponsor us later if they want.
Yeah, half price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone to half price and got a lot of single issues and some trades I was trying to find. Like I got Planet Hawk from there, and I was trying to find Planet Hawk forever,
Still need to read
and none of
that.
my local comic shops had Planet Hawk for some reason. Went to
Nice.
half price and they had it, and I was like, oh, I'm getting Planet Hawk, and then they had World War Hawk, and I was like, oh, here we go.
There you go. There you go. Not
And
the
then even at the expo, one of the other things I've been trying to get is I don't know if you ever read Earth X.
DC.
No, it was Marvel.
Okay, no,
I think they
not
had a
familiar.
DC version. Alex Ross, I think, did the artwork for the DC version.
Okay.
And in the '90s, Wizard Magazine asked him like, "Hey, for something extra to throw in our magazine, why don't you do a Marvel version of like a dystopian future?" And he came up with this story called Earth X, and
He
basically
did all the
everything's
pages for
gone.
it.
Say that again.
You said he did all the pages for it.
He did the initial artwork for it because
Okay.
originally it was just like a little pamphlet that was included with Wizard magazine,
Okay.
and it just showed you the characters of the story, and it gave you their backstory, and it wasn't really a comic. It was more like a pitch. Like, this is, if I was doing it, this is what they would look like, and
Uh,
this is what the characters' backstories would be.
yeah, I'd still love to see that. Alex Ross is like one of my favorites. Like
Oh, his
man,
artwork is amazing.
man on Kingdom Come, like Mark Wade and him. Woof, like that.
I think that's what it was. I think Kingdom Come was what caused them to say, "Hey, do a Marvel version."
Okay.
And that's what Earth X is. Earth X is essentially like a Marvel version of Kingdom Come in a way,
Okay, I'll have to find that.
except it's way worse. It's
Wait.
way worse.
Still worth the
It's way
wait, I'm
worse.
sure.
Yeah, it's like everybody becomes like mutants, and then like a lot of the old heroes die off, and like Captain America's like a broken man who's wearing a torn up American flag around his body. Like it's crazy. Thor gets turned into a woman, which is funny because now we have the
The
female
female
Thor.
Thor, yeah,
But
yeah.
Earth X was a female Thor, and it got picked up as a series. And they had Earth X, and then they did Universe X, and then they did Paradise X.
Okay, yeah, I'm surprised I never heard of any of those.
Oh yeah, it's one of those under the radar type things where some people didn't really like it because it went so far out there to kill off so many. It was Old Man Logan essentially before Old Man Logan,
Okay.
because every hero is pretty much dead, and the ones who are alive, like Reed Richards. Reed
Yeah.
Richards has gone crazy in Earth X, and he's dressing up as Doctor Doom,
I'm cool with that.
and he's
That sounds
actually
fun.
living in Doctor Doom's castle.
Nice, nice. Damn,
Yeah, so
I'll
if
have
you get a
find that
chance
then.
to, Earth X is easy to find. The singles are easy to find. The trades are hard to find, but the
Okay.
singles are, you can pick those up easy.
Nice. Speaking of comics, let's talk some comics.
Oh, it's comic time.
Comic time. Well, with your recommendation, I caught up with all new Wolverine.
Yes.
Like I was telling you earlier, one, I haven't read an X book since Old Man Logan, so I was excited to get into this. I told you, I was like, oh, I saw the Civil War thing. I was like, oh, I'm doing it for the podcast.
Doing it for the podcast.
But overall, like, the story so far, I really liked up until like the fourth or fifth issue, like before they got into like the Civil War tie-in stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still like, I'm glad it's not as entwined as it is in like other books, like I hear like Ultimates and like A-Force. A lot of those books are like super tied in with it. But this is a fun book though. Like, it turns out Gabby is actually found out earlier that Gabby is a weapon X herself because of Wolverine killing her previously. And I wasn't familiar with Gabby was in his past, right? When he was Old Man Logan?
Yeah.
Okay.
He in his reality, I believe he actually raised a version of her. I don't remember if it was supposed to be the same one, but yeah, she's from his past.
Yeah. And there was one thing. I mean, one thing that bogged me down a little bit was Ulysses always causing problems and profiling people, and then they go after it, and they always just make it worse. Like each issue, they always seem to just make it worse. But luckily, X-23 was able to step in and handle things. But I had fun. This series has been good though so far. Besides like the couple issues before this, with the with the start of the tie-in, it's been cool. And Gabby's a evil, smirky little thing. She's got a mouth on her, but she's really cool as a character.
If you get a chance to, it'll kind of help you a little bit better with that character. Last year they did the Death of Wolverine, and then after that they had the tie-in issues, Wolverines, where it was like everybody who was like closely related somehow to Wolverine, like Sabretooth, Mystique, X-23, Dakin, like they get forced to work together to try to find Wolverine's body. But you get a lot about her character in there because he's the only person who treated her like a person. Like he actually took her under his wing and was like, you may be a clone, but I understand what you're going through. Okay. Everything, the experiments, the rage, all of that. So that's one of the things I liked about her as a character, and especially when Logan is involved, is because he understands. She went through almost literally what he went through. Yeah. The experiments, the being treated like an animal, as a weapon, and he did everything he could do in his power to try to let her have a semi-normal life. So if you ever get a chance to like go back and check out some of her stuff before they did Secret Wars, you can see that relationship between the two.
Yeah, I plan on that for sure.
It's especially interesting when they because she was actually on a version of the X-Men. I think it might have been when they were doing the new X-Men run towards the end, but they put her on the X-Men. They had like it was a female team.
Okay, nice.
And they had like what was her name? Like it was like her, Dust. Was that her name, Dust? They had the
can't remember.
She was like Muslim, and like her power, she could turn to sand.
I know Miss Marvel, but that's not her.
Well, she was on this team, and this was when she still had attitude issues. Like in the beginning, she couldn't work for anybody. She didn't like working with people. If I remember correctly, she hated Jubilee.
Stubborn rage. Feral.
Stubborn rage. She hated Jubilee because he treated Jubilee like a daughter. And that's what she wanted him to treat her like. And he was trying. She didn't see that he was trying to start wearing her down and breaking down those barriers so she could be treated like that.
Okay.
But she's an excellent character. Like I was a little iffy when they were talking about getting rid of Wolverine and there would be a new one. And as soon as they said, "Oh, there's going to be a brand new Wolverine," I was like, It's gonna be X-23.
Nice.
And then sure enough, they started showing off the pictures. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long Tom Taylor has been writing it, but he's good. Like, this is the first thing I've read from him, and the dialogue's been great, and all the art for this series has been good so far. I know there's been like a couple different inkers on it, I think, or pencils, but overall, yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, I'll have to go back.
Good book, good series, good character.
Yeah.
Like if for anybody out there who has never really given her a chance, some people don't want to give her a chance because like, oh, it's just a girl Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit deeper than that. And for Wolverine as a character, he's like one of my first few heroes I like.
Yeah,
like
he was
with
one of
that
my
90s X-Men.
Yep, during the animated series.
And it's interesting how he always gets put in that position where he's the surrogate father to somebody. Like he had Kitty Pryde,
yeah.
He had Jubilee, and of course it's more fitting now because, I mean, in my eyes, she is his daughter. Like she's got his DNA.
Yeah,
she's kind of a clone, but it's his daughter.
Yeah, and you can tell from reading the book that he's still, he is like a father figure to her, and it does try to like reason with her and whatnot. But yeah, he gets all feral and shit. That's funny.
That was one of the interesting things when they first introduced her, was the fact that she had been trained to go feral when she had a certain scent. Okay. And the scent was used to send her out to do missions. And there was a couple instances where the scent was thrown onto somebody and she killed that person.
The wrong
and
person?
A lot of because a lot of times they were people who were actually trying to help her.
Okay.
Like she had a friend, and her and her mom took her in and were taking care of her. And the organization found out about it, came in to get her. The scent ended up on the family. She went crazy, blacked out, and killed the family.
Yeah, now you mentioned that. I remember, I think throughout the series, he had mentioned something like that, how she was like a wild child back then, and it's still, I guess, it seems like slowly but surely, understanding herself and whatnot. But I'm excited to see what happens with this Gabby character, because I don't know much about her previously, but she seems like a really cool character so far.
Yeah, she's a great character. I think it's looking like she may be introduced into the final Wolverine movie.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
There's talks of bringing this character into the movie, especially because they're essentially doing like an Old Man Logan type story.
Yeah, however, Old Man Logan type story.
Yeah. Old Man Logan. All I know is supposed to be something involving Sinister.
Yeah,
I know Sinister is supposed to be the big baddie.
I hope they pull him off right. Like, we'll have to do. Maybe we'll go back and like do a spoiler thing about Apocalypse. But that movie ruined me. Not ruined me, but I was just very disappointed. Like everything, First Class and Days were like great, but they just did not care for Apocalypse and that whole movie. They just did not care.
Let me just say this. I would be up for going back, like you said, and doing a spoilers episode for that. But I will say this right here and right now. Apocalypse was one of my favorite X-Men villains.
Yes, for
and
sure.
I was hyping up what they could do with Apocalypse before this movie came out. Even when I saw the pictures, I was like, there's still a chance here. They can still do something great with them.
Yep.
And then I saw the movie and was like, there's a couple of good things here, but you guys missed the bar so much with Apocalypse. Like, you missed, like, this could have been the greatest X-Men movie ever made.
Yeah. Well, we can go off into a rant real quick.
Yeah.
Just like, cause I was excited for the new characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bringing Jubilee and Havoc, continuity issues, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the new characters they're bringing in, like, I was excited. And then they just, like, I don't even think I've watched that mall scene, because it'll just make me even more upset.
I watched the mall scene, obviously. Saw the movie. I saw the movie twice because I went to see it once, and then I went to my cousin to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I was disappointed because, like, I'm one of the few people that I've ever met that actually likes Jubilee as a character. Like, Jubilee is one of those characters who could be used so much better than what she's been used. And a lot of people think of her as the 90s cartoon. Oh, she shoots fireworks. It's like, well, there's more to her than what she shoots and everything.
Yeah, she was never like, I guess one of my phrases, but I knew that they could probably do so much more with her for sure. Exactly.
This was the thing. It's like in the cartoon, she was us. Jubilee was supposed to be the viewer. We were the kids watching it, so she was the one closest to our age. So we were technically supposed to be seeing things through her eyes. We were supposed to be able to relate with her. A lot of people didn't do that, but Jubilee was a good character. And what they did to her in the movie, if you have not seen Age of Apocalypse, but you've seen Days of Future Past, they did a Rogue to her, where Rogue was hyped up to be in Days of Future Past, and there was all this artwork and stuff done saying like, hey, Rogue's in here, and she plays a big part in the movie, and then she didn't pop up in the movie.
No.
And then they had to do, what was it, the Rogue's Cut DVD, where they put all of her footage back in.
And I actually prefer that more.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
It doesn't. It's not like a lot of scenes, but the scenes that they have added, it just makes sense for what's happening before and after.
So it's like Superman, Batman, like the director's cut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because anybody who hasn't seen it, that'll pop up. Yeah, but I will say for anybody who hasn't seen it, the director's cut is better than the theater version.
Way better.
Batman.
Like way
better.
Way better.
Everything makes perfect sense in that movie.
Yeah. So it still has its issues, but
it still has issues.
Yeah, it was just way better. Just makes sense.
But with you said the mall scene though, I was disappointed with the use of Jubilee. I think Nightcrawler could have been used a little bit better.
Yeah,
I didn't
mind him.
I got over the whole Havoc thing because of First Class. Because when First Class came out, I was kind of like, they do know that's his younger brother, right?
Yeah.
And by doing this, they're saying he's the older brother.
Bryan Singer don't
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
I'll leave that alone. But I was excited to see Quicksilver back. I did like what they did with Quicksilver in Days of Future Past.
Yep.
I was definitely pumped to see Archangel. Because I was like, finally, we're getting Archangel. Like, I need to see that.
And he was underused, useless.
He was overhyped and underused.
Yeah.
They hyped him up so much on all the promotional stuff and everything and made it seem like he was going to be the Archangel we know from the cartoon and the comics, and it was not the case.
No.
Definitely misused Apocalypse. Yeah. Definitely.
And Magneto wasn't strong. I don't know. There was a lot of continuity issues too. Like you were saying, Havoc. Like there was a 20-year difference after. It was like a 10-year or 20-year difference.
It was a 10-year difference.
Yeah.
Because First Class was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 20 years. You're right.
Yeah.
Because First Class was in the 60s. Future Past was in the 70s. And then Apocalypse was in the 80s.
Yeah, and Havoc still looks like he's 16.
Yeah. Like he didn't really... All they did was gave him longer hair.
Yeah. So, man.
But, yeah, there was definitely some issues there. I actually kind of like what they did with Cyclops and Jean there a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that. Did you see that bow scene of Jean Grey? Like, there's a scene...
Which one?
There's an extra scene they cut out of, like, Jean Grey is, like, it's at the lake, and she's firing, like, a bow and arrow. And for some reason, she decides to, like, look at a group of kids, but decides not to shoot the arrow and goes back to the target. It was very... I
haven't seen that, but is that, like, them trying to hint a little bit more at the Dark Phoenix thing?
Yeah, that's what I thought, but that's just, like, the weirdest and not correct way to... Maybe that's why they cut it, because they were like, that's not the correct way to use it, but it didn't make sense.
Look, this is the thing. Bryan Singer has been dying to do the Dark Phoenix. We saw the original 2 X-Men movie. He was dying to do the Phoenix. He stepped out right before they was about to actually do it. It was done, and it was done bad. I don't like the whole, it's a split person. I don't like that idea that the Phoenix is a split personality. because that takes away from a lot of the X-Men mythos when you do that.
Exactly.
Because when you bring the Phoenix in and you start bringing like the Shi'ar and you start going out into space and you start expanding on what they actually do.
They need
and it makes the X-Men.
They need to get off the ground or off the. They need to get into space at this point. Like
they do, but the thing is that with the issue going on between Marvel and Fox, it's kind of hard for them to do that.
True.
Because I'm a strong believer that if Marvel had been doing the X-Men movies, the X-Men, one of them would at least popped up like in Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere.
Oh yeah, no
like
doubt.
for some, or there would have been some kind of Easter egg where it was like, they mentioned the Shi'ar Empire, and maybe they in passing they mentioned the Phoenix Force or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But
we'll see what they do with. I'm excited for Old Man Logan. Like, I guess I can't say I'm excited. I'm positive.
Anticipating.
I'm positive that they do something right. Because they saw what they could do with Deadpool. Like, that should be like, hey, give these writers and directors their vision and let them do what they do. Like, Ryan Reynolds paid his the screenwriters to be on set of Deadpool. Did you hear about that?
And like I from the moment that even before the test footage was leaked out, I had heard the rumblings of how hard he was petitioning to get Deadpool made. And then the test footage leaked out, and then they started talking about it, and I heard and saw like the steps he was taking to try to really capture Deadpool and make it a Deadpool movie, and not make it his incident with Green Lantern again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it took him like 11 years or something to finally
get it made. That movie took forever. He was like, I want to make this happen.
Yeah.
And that was Deadpool. Like I was watching the movie and I was like, oh, this is a Fox movie? Like that's Deadpool.
Right. It's funny. I went with my friend who he likes comic book movies, but he doesn't know the Fox Marvel blah blah blah. He's like, man, that was a great Marvel movie. I was like, no, that was a good Fox movie for once.
Yeah, I go through that with a lot of people and everything. We're like, oh yeah, Marvel's killing it, man. No, they're say something like, man, what was Marvel thinking with that X movie? And I gotta be like, it's not a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
like, Marvel can't legally make an X-Men movie.
Yeah, you gotta tell them the rights and whatnot.
Yeah, I tell them, explain the rights, and it makes it a little easier now because now they finally changed their opening logo to the Marvel Studios.
Yep.
So now you can go like, when you see this logo, it's Marvel. When you see this logo, it's somebody else.
Which is annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying because I say this all the time as a fan of, like, I like DC also, but as a fan of Marvel, one of the things I love about Marvel is you can be reading a comic book. It could be a Spider-Man comic, and then all of a sudden Ghost Rider pops up out of nowhere. Or, it could be an X-Men comic, and then is that the Silver Surfer in the back?
Yeah.
So in the way they were doing their movies, they're essentially doing their movies like comics. So with that expanded universe, like as a fan, I want to see a character come out of nowhere, like Ant-Man.
Yeah.
When I first saw Ant-Man, I was like, okay, well, they've done something for Iron Man. Well, I know who Ant-Man is. Most of these people in the theater don't know who Ant-Man is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm watching the movie, and then it comes to the part where he has to retrieve that chip in order to, what was that chip for? It was to take out the security or something.
I think so, yeah. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah, well, he went into what was the new Avengers base, and I was like, wait a second, that's the Avengers base.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Falcon comes. I'm like, wait a second, it's Falcon.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Marvel.
I put a grin on my face.
That's why I wish they had the rights to a lot more of their characters, because even with a small cameo, that had me so pumped in the theater. Like, he was only in the movie for maybe 5 minutes, maybe.
Exactly.
But between the fight and his little end credit scene and everything, he was only in there for a little bit. But that's the kind of stuff that gets you excited. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. This universe is much bigger.
Yes,
exactly. Than just one person whose name was on the movie.
No doubt. Hopefully, DC will make their move. But yeah, that's one thing I like about Marvel is they do treat their movies like comic books. but they don't treat it also like it's a dumb audience, which is good.
Oh, wow.
I have to say right now, like in my opinion, Marvel movies are like solid, but some of their or a lot of the comics I'm just not reading. Like I guess after Civil War two or Civil War came out, they immediately launched Civil War 2,
Man,
and
it
I
was
was just
me.
like some people I talk to are like cool with it. They're like as long as it's a good story, but it's like I understand why they did it. The movie just came out. Let's capitalize on that. I understand that. But now that there's a delay, it's the same thing that happened with Secret Wars.
Mm,
And when they were launching the all new, all different, Secret Wars was delayed and wasn't finished. So we were seeing the stories before Secret Wars is over, and it's happening with Civil War 2 now. And
yeah.
like the tie-ins and Rebirth or DC has like a couple of missed comics right now as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think DC movies could be better. Their comics are awesome right now. Marvel movies are great. I hope they can get back on the good train of their comics and like a lot of the Marvel books that aren't tied in, like the Black Panther,
Yeah.
Vision. Um, I know there's a couple. I know there's a few other ones too, but those are the two that I'm reading from there. And Howard the Duck has been fun. I love me Howard the Duck. Like
How did that?
that was probably the first Marvel movie I ever watched when I was younger. So I got a soft spot for him.
I have still to this day never saw the Howard the Duck movie.
Oh, you
I keep
got
telling
to.
myself I'm going to see it.
It's weird and creepy.
From the clips and stuff I've seen, yeah, and it's weird that I haven't seen it because I've seen like the old Batman serials from like the 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen like the 70s crappy Captain America movies. I actually have the two Captain America
Do
TV
you?
movies. I've seen the Doctor
Nice.
Strange made for TV.
I watched that on YouTube recently.
Most people don't know the Fantastic Four movie from the 90s. Like I've
Yep.
seen all of those, but I've never seen Howard the Duck, and that's kind of weird
You should. You should
because
watch
that
this.
was in theaters.
Well, we could do like a maybe like a Skype commentary on it or something crazy, weird. But that's goofy. But no, Chip Zdarsky, I think his run just ended. He's gonna be writing Star Lord soon, so I'm excited to see what he does with that. He does like a lot of quirky type of stuff, which is cool.
Okay. Do you know because last I saw was Star Lord. It wasn't Peter Quill. Are they going to bring Peter Quill back? Do
Yeah,
you know, or is he already back?
I think the preview that I saw it had a cover of Peter Quill on it.
Because I think last that I saw of anything like comic related with Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it was Kitty Pryde with Star Lord.
Was she still okay? Yeah, I remember. I think
So I
that's
know they
when
were
I
dating
stopped
for a
reading
while.
it. Yeah, I was reading it up until that point, and I meant to catch up, but I fell off of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I need to
Yeah.
get back to that.
I've been meaning to get into some Guardians of the Galaxy, especially when they took Agent Venom and everything. Like I was like, I'm gonna get into
Yeah, I
this.
read it. I read a couple of stories. It was a cool story. Like it's fun. I forget who was writing it when I was reading it. I don't think it was Dan Abnett. I think it was someone else. I'll have to check. But we can get into now that we're done ranting about all that good stuff. You can take it away with Spider-Gwen.
All right, Spider-Gwen. Well, this week I just recently read issue number 12 of Spider-Gwen.
Oh yeah, actually, real
I've been
quick. Sorry, not to cut you
yeah.
off. I have a question. I was
Go ahead.
when I was reading it. Is
Mhm.
she on a different Earth, or is she?
Yes, Spider-Gwen. I don't know exactly which Earth it's supposed to be,
Because I
but
think
she's an alternate Earth.
okay, because I think I remember seeing something about like a Earth 61 or something like that.
That
Um,
might be the Earth
it was
she's on. I don't
some.
remember the number,
Yeah,
but
it was some
yeah,
number.
yeah. For anyone who's never read Spider-Gwen, it is Gwen Stacy. If you know anything about Spider-Man, you know about Gwen Stacy's death and how that affected Peter Parker. And Spider-Gwen, it's an alternate reality, it's a different Earth, and on this Earth, Gwen Stacy was bitten by the spider instead of Peter. She became Spider-Woman. I know it's called Spider-Gwen, but in the comic, she's Spider-Woman.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And, yeah, they did that for the fans because when they put out that Edge of Spider-Verse, people would just start calling her Spider-Gwen because it was Gwen Stacy and she had spider powers.
Okay.
And when they petitioned to get, because fans made this book happen. It was going to be a one-shot character because Edge of Spider-Verse was a bunch of one-shot spider characters. There was such a positive response that fans petitioned for it to become a comic book.
That's cool.
And it worked.
That's good.
And so they left the title as Spider-Gwen for the fans.
That's sweet.
But in the comic, she's Spider-Woman. She essentially goes through the similar thing that Peter did when he got his powers. Like she's not really thinking about being a hero. Peter actually which is like one of her close friends, sees Spider-Woman and falls in love with Spider-Woman. And he's upset because she's special. She has these powers, so he attempts to duplicate some kind of experiment to get powers, and he becomes the Lizard. So in Spider-Gwen, the Lizard was Peter Parker.
Okay.
He ends up dying, and he actually dies in Spider-Gwen's arms, and that's her moment where she figures out great power, great responsibility. It's the death of Peter Parker. Problem is, the cops think that Spider-Gwen killed Peter, so she becomes an outlaw.
That helps me understand now as I'm reading it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the things in the Spider-Gwen universe are the same but different. Like her father is still the police chief, so he's the one who's charged with trying to take her down until he finds out that she is indeed Spider-Woman. He ends up getting replaced by Frank Castle.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yes. Frank Castle in this universe is a police officer, so you can imagine the attitude of the Punisher, but as a cop.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit more hardcore with his tactics and everything. He thinks that they have to hit Spider. Yeah, he's like, we got to hit her hard and take her down. As it goes on in the series, he does eventually end up finding out that Spider-Woman and Gwen Stacy are the same person. And he actually ends up teaming up with some people to try to uncover her. Like he hires he ends up getting Kraven the Hunter to actually try to take her down.
Is that a different Kraven, like a newer one? I think because I saw like in the back of it had like a couple names. I don't know if it was the most recent one.
I didn't read the back to see which version it is. Okay. I know a lot of the times, most of the characters are the people we know, just with slightly different backgrounds.
Okay. Like Matt Murdock.
Like yeah, like I was just about to say Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock is
working for Kingpin.
Yes, he is still a lawyer, but he's Kingpin's like number one guy.
That's hilarious.
Still has the daredevil abilities and everything, but he's working for Kingpin. And just like, when I first saw that, I was like, are you serious? Like, he's working for Kingpin, and he's really like a top guy for Kingpin.
That's funny.
I just had to go back and read a couple of the last few issues just to refresh myself before I got to 12. And like Uncle Ben's still alive. And one of the issues, she actually goes over to the Parkers because she's still close with Aunt May and Ben Parker.
Yeah.
And she kind of tortures herself because in her mind, she's responsible for Peter's death. In her day job or her day life, she is part of a band called the Mary Janes.
Nice.
Which is an up and coming like alternative punk rock band. It consists of her on drums, Betty Brant, I think, plays the guitar, Mary Jane is the lead singer, and I feel like there's somebody else in that group.
Is that in the start of this series?
It goes all the way through the series. Like in the first issue, you actually see that she's in this band. Like they have to set everything up. Like, she's Spider-Woman, but she's in a band. The band's about to blow up. She's juggling being Spider-Woman and being in this band. She's missing gigs because she's in the Spider-Woman thing.
Okay, yeah, because I started reading from the newest arc, like the Weapon of Choice.
So that's like issue, I want to say, starts at like 8, I think.
Yeah, 8, I think. Yeah, so I'd read through there.
Yeah, it starts at 8. Mm-hmm. Well, even in that arc, she's having the issues with the band there because Mary Jane wants to replace her, but the rest of the band's like, well, we don't have the same sound without her. Like she helps give us that sound. Anybody else, we're not gonna be as good.
Okay.
But in 12, the newest issue, uh, it turns out that Frank Castle has found out she's Spider-Gwen. The whole Craven the Hunter thing gave him the chance to actually unmask her because he needed to know for sure that that's who it was behind the mask.
Yeah.
So now he knows. He did some work for Stark Tech, I believe it was, and he actually got his hands on a piece of what is going to be the Iron Man armor.
I noticed that.
They were parts array. Yeah, he had the parts array.
Punisher with any sort of Stark material is not good. Not good at all.
Yeah. I just want everybody to imagine the Punisher with an Iron Man glove on. He's got the parts array. It's not good. Like you said, it's not good.
Not at all.
But yeah, he's trying to take her down. His plan is essentially like, if I can't actually capture her, I'm going to kill her, drop her off on the front steps of the police station. In his mind, anything it takes to take down this menace because she's not a normal criminal. So if I got to go that extra Punisher style mile, then I'm going to go there. He's essentially gone crazy. Like Frank Castle in issue 12 has officially gone crazy. If you read the rest of the series, you can see him start to kind of go crazy. He's already on the edge, but by the time we get to this issue, he's lost.
He's broken down, yeah.
Yeah. And he's actually like on the verge of beating Spider-Gwen, and that's when Detective Stacy actually shows up and saves her.
And he turns himself in.
Yeah, he turns himself in after the battle. Like she beats Frank. He hears the police coming. He dips out. And then Detective Stacy tells her, like, you're never going to be alone. I'm always here for you. You've always got people with you. And she knows what he's going to do. And he's like, I have to do this. Run. So she leaves. He turns himself in. And then towards the end of the issue, it flash forwards 2 weeks later. And she's taking it hard. Because it's all over the news that this Detective Stacy has turned himself in and that he's believed to be linked with Spider-Woman. And she's kind of trying to figure out how to save her dad. So what she decides to do...
Feels bad for him.
Yeah, she feels terrible. So what she does is she actually takes up an offer that was given to her by Matt Murdock, where he'll defend her father and get him off from the city's DA is Foggy Nelson, which is hilarious that he's the DA and Matt Murdock's going to take him on now.
And that panel, he promised too when Matt Murdock's like standing in front of her, and all the
he's like on the building overseeing her,
and all the ninjas are behind him on the building. I was like, what?
Yeah,
you got the hand working for King.
The hand, that was the issue when they popped up. I was like, really? So Matt Murdock has the hand? Like, this is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
But she obviously she takes the offer, and the terms of the deal are that he will defend and get her dad off and get him out of jail, but she has to work with him and essentially do some jobs for the Kingpin. And that's where it leads. It leads on that cliffhanger, like Spider-Woman is going to work for the Kingpin and evil Matt Murdock.
No doubt.
So Spider-Gwen is definitely a great comic. It kind of breaks up the monotony, like you was talking about comics that are tied in with Civil War.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen is nowhere near tied in with Civil War. It's on a completely different arc.
So you didn't
even have to worry about that.
Thing. Yeah, since it's on a different excuse me. Since it's on a different Earth, you get like a whole story that doesn't even matter, and they can do whatever they want with it. And
that's
you get to see like Matt Murdock working for Kingpin, like not in continuity, which I'm totally fine with. Like keep the normal continuity, but have these like sort of like Elseworld other world stories. I'm down with that.
That's what I like about Spider-Gwen, because it's interesting to me to see characters that you may know, but see them in a totally different, light or in a totally different position. Like when I first saw the Punisher, I was like, wait a minute. Because they didn't say the Punisher. It's like, we want to introduce you to, Detective Frank Castle. I'm like, wait a minute, Frank Castle, that's the Punisher. And then, Matt Murdock with his all white suit. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Matt Murdock. And then, you find out he's working for the Kingpin. Like, wait a minute. Matt Murdock is working for the Kingpin? So it's definitely interesting to see them do characters in a different way. The fun thing about Spider-Gwen is that she's on another Earth, but they've been doing crossovers where she'll pop over to like the main universe and then pop back because because they did the whole Web Warriors thing, and now she's on the Web Warriors, and they have like these devices that let them jump between dimensions. So she pops over here and hangs out with our Spider-Woman and Silk. They had a whole series where they did like a road trip type adventure where they were popping between different universes together.
Nice. Yeah, when I was reading that Spider-Woman book, I can't remember which volume it was, but when she was on the road with Porcupine, did you read that one at all?
I did read it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I didn't finish it, but yeah, that was really fun too. Because I think Spider-Woman the other Spider-Woman is in the same world as Spider-Gwen,
Jessica Drew?
I assume. Yeah, Jessica Drew.
No, Jessica Drew is in the regular main universe.
Because I know she was mentioned at some point in this book. So yeah, that's what threw me off.
Because that's why she was mentioned, because when they did the Spider-Verse thing, all the different versions of the Spider characters met each other and teamed up. So they all basically know about each other now.
Okay.
And like I said, Spider-Gwen pops over and she hangs out with Silk and with Spider-Woman every now and again. They do stuff together. The one thing she did though when she popped over was she wants them not to tell Peter that she comes over to the main universe.
Okay.
Because she knows that about how it weighs on Peter.
Yeah.
And it would be awkward for him to know there's a version of Gwen Stacy that's here.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure that story will come up at some point.
Oh, it probably will. They try to keep it a little secret.
Yeah.
It looks like
it's something
that they may possibly. Well, it looks like they might actually bring her to the main universe permanently.
Okay.
So we would have Spider-Gwen permanently. And it also is looking kind of like they might try to do something like a relationship between her and Miles Morales, which would be interesting considering that, Peter is like his mentor.
Yeah. That's like
so it'd be kind of weird boundary. To be like it's like that's kind of weird, like, want Miles to be happy, wants, Gwen Stacy to be happy, but it's kind of weird, like at the expense of Peter.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, I have a question. The Richard Reeds in Spider-Gwen.
Oh, yes, I forgot about.
Where is he from? What's going on with him?
I don't know exactly where he's from, because when I seen him the first time I read through, I saw the name and was like, okay, Reed Richards. And then I saw the character and was like, okay, Reed Richards. And then I stopped and was like, wait a minute. Why is he like 15?
Yeah.
And
black.
Why is it a black guy? Then I was like, Spider-Gwen is a different universe.
Which I'm fine with. Yeah, because I didn't know if there was more of a backstory with him, if he's been in previous stuff. Because that was the first time I've ever even seen or heard of him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with Spider-Gwen. This is a whole new universe.
They can do whatever, so that's cool.
It's going to be the first time you hear about a lot of people and a lot of versions of different characters. Because even from the first issue, when I saw the Lizard and it was like it's Peter Parker, I was like, wait a minute, Peter's the Lizard? Huh?
Right.
Okay, all right.
No, that'll be good.
We're definitely not in the 616 anymore.
Nope. Yeah, because that was the thing after Secret Wars. I figured there was only one universe left. I think, because the Ultimates is gone, the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, the Ultimate Universe is done for. That died.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be one universe, but the thing is, Spider-Gwen is so popular that they couldn't just kill it.
They kept it open.
They had to keep it open.
Yeah.
The fans would have went crazy.
Let's
like
keep
if they got rid of Spider-Gwen. Yeah. And they're still doing stuff where there's other universes, but it's not like the traditional sense of the Marvel multiverse like it used to be.
Yeah, and we talked about this before with, since Fantastic Four is still out there building these universes, like at some point we will, I know it's going to be way down the road, but I think at some point they'll finally bring them back into the fold. And
yeah,
maybe
I'm going to call it right now. Fantastic Four will be brought back into the fold when Marvel gets the rights. I guarantee as soon as it's announced that Marvel has the rights to make a Fantastic Four movie, even if it's on the same plane as like the Spider-Man, where like they're teaming up with Fox and Fox like, yeah, share. As soon as they can actually put the Fantastic Four in an actual regular, when the Fantastic Four can pop up in the Avengers, then you will see the Fantastic Four come back in the comics.
Yeah, the thing I'm so confused about is they have like half of the Fantastic Four in other books already. What's wrong with
the thing is, if you break them up, they're not the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, true.
So that's why they did the thing where they shot Ben Grimm into space and put him on the Guardians, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's because people still want the character. They still like the character. They can still use them, but they don't want that Fantastic Four name around.
Yeah,
that's like what's about to happen with the X-Men. Like the X-Men, their X-Men about to disappear.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm not even gonna read. I read like a little bit of the previews for Death of X, and I was like, nope, I'm skipping it. Like, yeah, and they're about to be gone. Well, they're gonna do. Well, it's gonna be the same thing with Fantastic Four. They'll just be spread out between everything, and let's keep pushing Inhumans. And I don't know. I started reading some of the Inhuman stuff. There was a couple stories I liked, but overall, just like wasn't a fan of. And I knew of the Inhumans when I was younger, but I never really followed them because I knew of Black Bolt and Medusa. But yeah, I never really followed them.
Probably Grimlock.
I wasn't too familiar with him when I was younger.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, those are normally like the three that everybody knows: Black Bolt, Medusa, and Grimlock. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I've never really been a huge fan of the Inhumans. They've done a couple of cool things with them, like in some of the recent cartoons and stuff. Like, I think it was the Avengers Assemble. I think that was where they had like a couple episodes that were dedicated to the Inhumans. Mm-hmm. But I guess because I like mutants better than Inhumans. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
And to me, none of the Inhumans ever had any like great, wonderful, like shocking, amazing powers other than Black Bolt.
No, and it's always seemed to be like a family type story, which is totally cool because there's some stuff I need to read that I've heard like it's more like a Game of Thrones, like the families are at war type deal.
Yeah,
which I'd like to check out.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like
now they're doing
trying to get back to the roots.
Yeah, but it has traditionally been, like you said, a family thing because when they say the Inhumans and you see them as almost always the royal family. Those are normally the only Inhumans you really see or interact with are the ones on the royal family.
Yeah. Like
you barely see the regular common Inhumans. It's normally the royal family.
Yep.
So in that manner of speaking, it's like a family thing, but then again, so what's the Fantastic Four?
Right, exactly.
That was one of the big things about the Fantastic Four. They're the first superhero family, so
it's
kind of already have that.
It's like I don't know. That's like you said like that's Marvel's first family. That's like getting rid of your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. Just like we don't even talk to you anymore. Like get out of here. Like what? So petty. So petty. They just need to work together. It's all about money money with them.
That's how it seems, and everything seems to be pointing towards that, which is a shame because it's like you are dealing with if you're talking about like the movies and stuff, you are dealing with studios who are trying to make millions, billions of dollars for like putting a movie out.
Yep. And
it's a shame that they don't want to work with the actual creators of your source material. I mean, look at Sony Columbia. They did the Spider-Man movies.
Yep.
The first one we were sold because we never thought we would see a Spider-Man movie like that.
Exactly.
Where it actually was like, oh, he's swinging and sticking to like we never thought we would see it.
He's
that
traveling
kind of
caliber. New York, roof by roof, to roof.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one, we're like, oh, the story with Doc Ock and everything. This is great. This is awesome and everything. They're building on it. But by the time you get to the third one, people are kind of getting a little savvy, like they're just trying to cash in. Like not even really.
And I can't even remember the third one. Like I know I've seen it, but I can't even remember the third one.
Oh, it was Sandman and Venom and New Goblin.
No, I wasn't. I was like, I'll skip that one. Like I enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man, the first one.
Yeah.
I sat through the second one. That's all I'll say about that one.
I loved the first one because I was like, okay, they're getting some stuff right now.
Yeah.
You know, some stuff is getting right here. I enjoyed the whole him looking up, you know, different materials for his suit, and you can kind of see him like building a web shoot. I loved that.
Yeah, that was good.
And they actually showed that Peter is a genius. Like they actually showed him, you know, going through the science books, you know, when he goes and talks to Doc Connors and everything, and he's showing like, you know, I might be in high school, but I can follow what you've been doing. I understand your work and everything. You know, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be a kid, but I'm at your level.
Yeah.
When it came to Amazing Spider-Man 2, there were some good things in it, and there was definitely some bad things in it. I definitely didn't expect them to go the Gwen Stacy route that soon.
Yeah, me either. Not at all.
I wasn't sure how I felt about the whole Oscorp is the one that's making everything. Everything's coming from Oscorp. I wasn't kind of sure how I felt about that, you know, especially with the Sinister Six teaser at the end. It's like, yeah, it'd be awesome to see the Sinister Six, but you're kind of taking away from the characters a little bit if they're all just like, we're just going to grab a dude and slap him in a Rhino suit.
Yeah, I would say that's the one they slapped Rhino in at the end, too. Like, he's just there in the middle of the street doing nothing. They're trying to build up to the Sinister Six, but they were like, nah, this ain't happening.
That's because they was like, we want to have a Amazing Spider-Man 3, and they want to spin off to a Sinister Six movie, and they want to spin off to a Venom movie, and they might even spin off to a Carnage. They was like, no.
No, they got smart. No, they got smart.
You're not Marvel.
Yeah, they got smart, and they were like, hey, Marvel, what's up? We got Spider-Man.
What's up?
Let's do some things.
We'll work with you. And the stuff I've been seeing for Homecoming, that's going to be the greatest Spider-Man movie probably ever made.
Oh, I think so.
Have you seen the Shocker?
Yeah, I saw the picture of the Shocker.
You saw the picture of the Shocker? I was like,
I try to avoid as much as I can, but if it's just there, like if I see it, I see it. Because
I try to avoid spoilers.
After BVS, I was like, I'm done watching every trailer, every TV spot.
Man.
Because after I saw Suicide Squad...
We'll get to that beast.
Yeah.
We'll eventually get to that beast.
Oh, we will. But after I saw Suicide Squad, I saw a TV spot for it, or a trailer, TV spot, and it was the whole movie. I was like, you don't even need to see the movie now.
Yeah. Essentially, the trailers are the whole movie, and then I know, like, with Suicide Squad, like, some dude, I think in England, sued, like, Warner Brothers in the theater he saw that, because it's like... But this is the thing, is that happens all the time nowadays, where it's like, you got the trailer, and then, you know, I want to see it the way that scene turns out, and you get there, and it's like, that scene's not in the movie. Mm-hmm. That happened with Amazing Spider-Man. There were some scenes on the trailer that I wanted to see in the movie, and I got to the theater, watched the movie, and those scenes were nowhere to be found.
Yep. But yeah, it's good that Sony and Marvel are, like, talking, and I think that's going to be a good thing they're going to come from that. And who else? I think Sony only has Spider-Man and probably the Sinister Six. Is that the only characters they own? I think?
Well, the thing is Sony has the rights to Spider-Man, and that means they have the rights to the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
So any characters to fall under that, so Sinister Six was all of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery is theirs.
Yeah.
The same thing with Fox. Like Fox has X-Men and anything related to X-Men. Mm-hmm. That's part of how they got Deadpool, because Deadpool technically appeared in an X title first.
Yeah. So
he's technically an X character. Same thing with the Fantastic Four. Right? They had the Fantastic Four, so that's why Marvel can't use like Doom, Galactus, the Squirrels. Like,
so sad. I want to see Doom.
I know, it's so sad.
I want to see Doom like used right. Like,
you want to see the real Doom.
I want to see the real Doom. Exactly. Like,
yeah, I saw that last Fantastic Four movie and was like, man, that's not Doom.
No, that's not even Fantastic
that's
Four
not
movie. They at the beginning of the movie they had potential, but then it just fell apart. But
it fell apart fast.
Real quick. Oh man. So yeah, you wanna? What else? Is there anything else you want to mention that you've read past week or two? Anything people should be checking out?
Let's see. I've been trying to keep up with some of these Rebirth titles. I'm like I said, I'm mostly Marvel, but I do like DC too,
Yeah.
and I do like what they're doing with the Rebirth. I was one of those people in the beginning who was like, "Oh, it's just going to be a reboot," but then it's like, no, it's not really a reboot, you know. And it's kind of interesting to see
together.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see where they're taking it and how they're bringing back, the things we loved about old characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I definitely did enjoy, old Wally West coming back.
Yep.
I'd enjoy the idea that Green Arrow and Canary know something's wrong and can't figure out what's wrong, what's missing, and it's each other. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that go with certain characters, and like when I think Green Arrow, I think Black Canary.
Yep. Exactly.
I definitely like this idea of the stolen time. Like, that's just amazing to me because that helps them clean up a lot of people who didn't like the New 52.
Exactly.
Like me, I didn't really like the New 52.
See, that's when I started to, before I got back into it religiously, I started trying to get back into the 52, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was just like,
it's because so much of what you knew was gone.
Exactly. So it was like it didn't feel right to me. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna skip 52 and read Marvel and indie books.
The thing that bothered me the most about 52 is like, I like Batman, and it's like, so you're telling me everything else in the DC universe is gone, but Batman, and I think they did it with Superman. Everything that ever happened with them happened in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So that means he's had all those Robins. He had his back broken. Like, all this stuff has happened in 5 years, and that just bothered me so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
They're on a good start,
I think the only thing from the New 52 that I actually read religiously was Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you were saying that. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, Harley Quinn is a pretty. I mean,
I heard it's
I'm
like a
like
nice
this.
little goofy little book.
It's goofy. I just have an
Goofy
issue
in a
with.
good way.
It is goofy in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to make her into DC's Deadpool. That's what they want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
But she talks to herself and everything. She has like a stuffed beaver that she talks to and talks to on doing different kind of things. So they're essentially trying to make her into their version of Deadpool. My biggest issue with the whole Harley Quinn thing they got going on is while it's the 52 new Harley Quinn 52 is fun. My issue is the fact of how they try to distance the character from the Joker. Harley Quinn and the Joker, in my eyes, kind of go hand in hand. And I think a lot of people are looking at the relationship between the two in the wrong way. These are two people who are both
they're kind of just cuckoo.
They're psychos, basically. Like, Harley Quinn's not as innocent as people are trying to make her seem. Like, I mean, let's be real. The Joker technically is a mass murderer. Harley Quinn is with the Joker. Harley Quinn has probably helped kill a lot of people, right? So I think the thing is that, one, you have Scott Snyder, I believe it was, who had his run of Batman, which was good. He had a good run of Batman.
Issues, that's one I need to read at some point. I can read that. I think 52 issues.
Oh, his Batman run. His Batman run from the beginning to the end is great. The thing is, he knew he wanted to use the Joker, and he wanted a more scary Joker, and he felt that having Harley Quinn softens the Joker. So we need to get rid of Harley Quinn and just have Joker by himself. So that's why a lot of people read the New 52 Joker and they're like, he's much darker, he's much crazier. That's why, because he wanted him darker and crazier and didn't feel that Harley Quinn would allow him to be darker and crazy. On the other hand, you have people who are starting to like Harley Quinn as a character, and they're like, oh, well, she's in an abusive relationship with the Joker. Harley Quinn smacks the Joker around, too. Like, they smack each other around.
Yeah, and I never
read. It's not
read,
a one-sided thing.
I don't think enough comics with Joker and Harley, but I was introduced to them in the animated series when Paul Dini had created
the animated series.
And yeah, she was like kind of goofy, but like she still gave him a hard time too. I never saw it as like a domestic violence sort of issue. Like you're saying, like I just see it as they're both cuckoo and they may or may not love each other.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think that they do. Is just because they're so crazy. It's not what we would expect
Yeah,
an
exactly.
actual
We're
loving
not used
relationship
to
to look
that
like.
or seeing that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it scares a lot of people, and then with her becoming so popular now, with a lot of females and young female readers and everything, they're like, in their eyes, it's sending the wrong message. It's a completely different kind of relationship. That's one of the things I actually liked about the Suicide Squad, the way they did them in Suicide Squad, is because
Yeah.
you could tell that they're both back crazy. Like you just tell they're both completely nuts. But at the same time, Joker did pretty much his whole motivation in that whole
Get the
entire
Harley.
movie
Yep.
was to get his girl back.
Yep.
That was his whole entire motivation. And think about everything he did in that movie, like he moved heaven and
I didn't
earth
mind him
to get Harley
breaking
Quinn
in
back.
at the end.
When he
I
could
didn't
have
mind
been
him
like
the end of the movie where he broke into jail. I didn't mind that at all. Like it was it's
Yep.
a little you could see it coming, but that's just like something he would do. Like and it makes it a comic book movie.
Oh yeah, when the wall exploded and I seen him coming and shit, I was like, oh, that's gotta be Joker. And then he pulled the mask off and it was Joker, and I was like, yep. So that was my only issue with the way they've done her in the New 52. Her comic book is fun. It is a fun comic book. It is funny. It is ridiculous. It is like Deadpool kind of ish. With her, she's essentially an anti-hero now. Like that's essentially what she is now. They've turned her from a straight villain into an anti-hero, and it looks like they're probably going to try to actually turn her into a hero. That's cool. Do that for a little bit, but ultimately, I like Harley
Quinn. Did you
Quinn.
notice?
That was one of my biggest.
Oh, did you?
No, go ahead. I was going to say that's one of my biggest reservations about actually reading the New 52 was when I saw that they were going to separate the two like that, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to do that.
Did you catch
what were
that
you gonna
Easter
say?
egg in the beginning of Suicide Squad when they or during Harley's part, the Robin?
Oh,
how she
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like,
interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
I saw that, was like, makes sense because they're essentially gonna because now she's so ingrained with Batman and with the Joker that most retellings of like Batman's early years are going to include Harley Quinn now. We're not going to get too many more retellings where it's going to be like just the Joker. Like Harley Quinn is going to be included into that. Yeah, but I find that interesting with the implication that she killed that Robin. Other than the New 52 Harley Quinn, the only other thing that I've been meaning to actually get into is Puppet Master. I've got like most of the run of Puppet Master. I just haven't actually got into it, and I'm a huge Puppet Master fan, so I kind of need to get into that.
The movie Puppet Master?
Yeah.
They have a comic for it?
Yes, they do.
Who's that through?
I think IDW is doing the Puppet Master.
That sounds like something they would do.
Yeah,
I've been
like
reading,
they've been doing it.
Judge Dredd through there.
Ooh.
Yeah, Puppet Master though. I'll have to check that out because I haven't watched that since I was like young. So that's cool. They have a comic for it.
You know what? I watched it when I was young. I got hooked on it like in the early '90s. I used to rent the tapes all the time from the video store. As soon as I was able to, I got the box set. I got the box set for Christmas one year. And then I actually rebought the box set, like the original box that they released. So I have 2 box sets of Puppet Master.
Nice.
I have some of the Puppet Masters figurines. Like I have my Spider-Gwen back here, my Spider-Gwen plushie. I have a Blade plushie from Puppet Master like that.
Okay, nice.
So I am a Puppet Master fan. I watched the last 2 they put out a couple years ago. I'm waiting on the new one getting ready to come out.
Oh, they're still.
So that's why
them?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was like Full Moon's cash cow was Puppet Master. Like they had other hits from like the '90s, but Puppet Master was like their number one hit. They can always make money with Puppet Master.
Oh, that's good.
Always.
That's good. Yeah, it seems like IDW picks up a lot of the, like some of the movie stuff or like older comics, which is cool. Like I think.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It was like they pick up the movie stuff because I think IDW did the Back to the Future not too long ago.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out.
and I think they're the ones that have been doing the Evil Dead stuff too. And I want to say that they did the recent Godzilla series.
Yep.
So they have been doing a lot of like you said, they've been doing a lot of the movie tie-ins mostly, like a lot of the comics based off of movies.
There's
and not just movies, cult movies.
Yeah, cult movies. Yep. Because I know it's either Dark Horse or IDW, but they have Kong Island, which I've heard is okay. And then I know there's a Godzilla book too.
It seems like it would probably be IDW. I know in the 90s it would have been Dark Horse, because I remember Dark Horse used to do Terminator.
Yeah,
and they used to do they used to pick up a bunch of those books in the 90s. I think they used to do a Godzilla also, and then they lost the rights. I think IDW picked them up.
Nice.
Ghostbusters. That's what those IDW's been doing, is Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I saw that too. There's a really cool bookstore in Dayton, and they have a lot of like, if you remember, like heavy metal, and they have a bunch of like Terminator and like Predator books. Like they have like a lot of older, weirder comics that like the weird comics. But yeah, I just went back and got some of Dark Horse's original Terminators, because I remember I had like, I think the first 2 issues of their first Terminator run. I just went back and got a couple of those issues. I wouldn't mind going back looking at those.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing them. Like it's always interesting seeing like comics that were printed in the different decades, just to see the difference in artwork and the difference in the paper and stuff used. Exactly. And it was definitely interesting there, because Dark Horse always went for a hyper realistic, dark style, gritty. So it was interesting seeing those.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. Nice. Anything you're looking forward to that's coming up that you've been reading?
Well, not that I've been reading. There is some stuff that I am looking forward to. I know that you said earlier you don't want to read it, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing how they're going to do this Death of X thing.
I will see what you can. I'll let you spoil it for me. And
okay.
You can sell me if I should read it.
If it's any good, I'll sell you. If not, I'll just tell you to turn and run the other way as far as possible.
Maybe I'll probably pirate the first issue just to see what they do.
I also want to see what they're going to do with the new Spider-Man title they got coming out. I don't know what they're calling it now. Originally, I thought it was called like the Clone Conspiracy or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've heard. It's something like that. I've heard like a little bit of backlash. I never read the original one, but I know some people are like not really into it.
I never read the original Clone Saga. I know of it, know what happened in it.
Yeah.
Growing up, I remember the second Clone Saga, the Ben Reilly saga, and I never read all of that, but I like Ben Reilly. Like, I like the Scarlet Spider, like the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider with the Tor hoodie and everything. Like, I love the Scarlet Spider, and I'm cool with the second incarnations of it. But I always wanted them to bring Ben Reilly back. Like, I always want to see that suit again. Like, I know it's so 90s, because he got his little pocket thing on his ankle and he's got his hoodie, but when the first time I saw the Scarlet Spider, I was like,
they can do it. DC's bringing 90s back in some way. Marvel can bring back a little bit of 90s.
I actually liked when he took over for Spider-Man. Like, I actually liked his version of the Spider-Man costume. Like, I thought his version was like one of the best versions of the Spider-Man costume.
Okay.
So I was a Ben Reilly fan. I would love to see if they're going to somehow incorporate Ben, bring him back somehow in this Clone Conspiracy. Because, I mean, just by the title, we know it's going to have something to do with the clones.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're going to be popping up. Yeah.
So those are probably the 2 biggest things that I'm anticipating right now. Nice. Anything else that I'm reading, like all new Wolverine or Spider-Gwen, I definitely want to see where those are going to go. But those are the 2 titles that I'm like actually anticipating.
I'm glad you recommended all new Wolverine, because the good thing about the ending of that issue is she's walking off and telling Cap, like, yeah, you're not gonna find me. Like, I'm going off the grid. So like, hopefully that's the end of her tie-in, and her and Gabby are on to like a new adventure. I think it's gonna be good. So I'm definitely sticking with that.
it probably will be the end as far as the tie-in, and they're probably end up doing something where, because that's what Wolverine did when they did the Death of Wolverine. He went off the grid because he didn't have his powers and stuff. He went off and tried to hide, and then for whatever reason, well, in his case, we know the reason, but people started coming after him. That's probably what's going to happen to her. It's like she's going to go off, and for some reason, somebody's going to be like, we have to get a hold of these two.
Yeah.
Go after them.
Someone's looking
That's
for
probably what's going to happen.
Something. Oh, yeah, because what's that one of the sisters, or one of the clones are still alive, right? I think. Yeah. So, and she's working, I forget who she's working with, but yeah, so they're going after them, so.
And the thing is, if you've ever known anything about Wolverine, you know that the Weapons Plus project will not die. That thing will not die. It morphs into something later on down the line. So I'm sure that's probably what's going to happen is somebody from the Weapons Plus program has morphed it into some other kind of weapons program. Yep. They've got information on them, and they need them for whatever reason, and that's going to probably be the start of somebody trying to hunt them down.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Well, I was just going to say, I think it'd be cool if they went into hiding, like she said, and then they're essentially, they end up being on the run, and you have them trying to, like a road trip type thing, where they're bouncing from place to place, being chased down until you get to the final thing where they have no choice but to fight. I think that could be really good.
Yeah, because it's definitely going to come down to a brawl with her and the other clone. And the do you know who she's working with? The other clone. I didn't recognize her.
I don't remember right off the top of my head if they even said who she's working with. I know that originally when they had the whole clone thing going on, it still had to do with the weapons project.
I think that's issue.
Because towards the beginning of the all new Wolverine series, that was like one of the first little story arcs they did, was the fact that there were clones out there, and that X-23 was the key to curing them somehow.
Okay.
And so it was so if you get a chance to go back and read the first few issues, so you can see how many clones there originally were, because there was a gang of them. Originally, there was a gang of clones.
Four of them, right?
It was like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. But, for this issue, I went ahead and caught up. The only ones that I skipped were I didn't really care for the Squirrel Girl crossover, and I kind of skimmed through. I kind of skimmed through the Wasp one. Not that I don't like those characters, but like
I was about to say, don't hate on Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, no, I'm not hating on Squirrel Girl. No doubt. But I felt like some of the dialogue in those couple of issues were just like filler issues before the tie-in happened. So now that I think they're past the tie-in, it's going to continue to get better.
As far as the Squirrel Girl, I think they're just trying to find what to do with her. And the Wasp, they want her to remain relevant, especially with the Ant-Man movies and stuff coming out, and her about to play a part in like probably in Infinity Wars and all that. So they got to have her in the comics to make her relevant. Around.
Because isn't there another Wasp now? I think.
It could be. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I feel like I heard somewhere. I think it might be in the like all new, all different Avengers, possibly. One was created or something Marvel continuity crazy.
Yeah. We know how continuity works sometimes in comics. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes there is no continuity.
Yep. There's
it's whatever that writer decides that day.
Yeah, it's one thing I've heard quoted. Someone from DC said continuity is like a pretzel. Whatever that can mean.
I always felt like Marvel and DC should hire a team whose job it is to actually know the history of the company and the characters so that we can keep continuity better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when a writer has an idea, they should have somebody they can go to and be like, well, this is my idea. And then the continuity police, or whatever you want to call them, could be like, well, you could do that, but, in issue number 34 of this was said and this happened, and and they can be like, oh, okay.
Or like type it in a computer, be like, idea.
Yeah, like a database.
Yep, exactly.
Like a continuity database.
They got money. They can invent something like that.
Yeah. Because as a comic fan, that's one thing. Especially when you try to get new people into comics, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because I just recently had somebody tell me like I've always wanted to get into comics, but I have no idea where to start. I don't want to jump in on issue like 750, and why I don't mind, the traditional numbering system.
Yeah.
I do know that would be intimidating to people who are just jumping in.
Yeah, and it confuses them because especially with Marvel, because they're always launching new number ones. So you don't know what volume you're looking at, and that happened to me a lot.
And then they don't do the reference boxes anymore either. Like I remember when they used to they would reference something and be like, see, Action Comics number 655 or something like that. And you're like, okay, so I can go back and see this.
Yeah.
Now it's just like they'll reference it and just be like, I think Spider-Gwen is one of the few comics where, like when you first open it up, they try to catch you up with what happened in the last issue.
Mm-hmm.
So every Spider-Gwen issue we open up, it says previously, and then it'll be like a one page.
I like the way they do that.
With the key things.
I like the way they do that. Instead of like just doing the text, they do panels of what previously happened. I thought that was cool.
And then you turn the page and you jump right into the story and you're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's cool. I like that a lot.
But that's one of the few comics that I know that tries to keep you caught up with what's going on and let you know what the continuity is.
For sure. Yeah. Lately, for me, I've been bouncing around from mainly Marvel, Indies, and DC. I'm stuck on Batman, Tom King's Batman right now. I'm skipping the Night of the Monstermen. It's like a 3-part crossover between Detective, Dick Grayson's book, and Batman. But it's only like a 3-parter, which is cool. And then I think it's just giving them like a break since they're like doing 2 issues a month type thing.
Month? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They need
crazy.
a break.
Their publishing schedule is crazy at DC right now.
Yes, it is. They haven't been late yet on any books, so that's good. And
I think they have a better plan on how to do it. Like, it's the Wonder Woman title where they're doing like I think
the back and forth.
Every odd issue is like the actual story, and every even issue is like a flashback type thing.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I haven't read that one yet. I've heard good things about it though. From DC, it's been like Batman, Detective. I'm finally the Young Animal series came out with Doom Patrol. I picked up that first issue. What else from DC? I've been meaning to read Flash, but I got behind. I think that's kind of all from. Oh yeah, Titans. That's one I was really stoked. That's kind of following the Rebirth storyline.
So since you're reading that, I got a question.
Yeah.
Which Wally West are they putting on the Titans? Is it going to be the New 52 Wally West or traditional Wally?
Traditional. Teen Titans.
Awesome.
Yeah, Teen Titans.
That is awesome.
Young or Iris West's cousin. So,
that is great.
Yeah,
that is great.
So the first 3 issues of that, I think they're on. Yeah, the first 3 issues have been kind of them still because like them getting used to Wally and knowing his past. So I'm hoping it picks up. It's been like kind of slow at the moment, but I'm hoping it starts to pick up soon. But it's been good. I started Batgirl and Birds of Prey. That's also decent, but also I'm hoping picks up real soon. It's different. The art's a little wonky at times. The Batman art, David Finch, like I know everyone's gonna always pick up a Bat book, but Tom King and David Finch and Jordi Belaire's colors on the Bat book have been top notch. Like, and the first arc of the storyline's really good. Tom King's great.
So they're nailing it.
Yeah, Tom King's one of my favorite writers right now. Speaking of Tom King, moving over to Marvel, I've been reading Vision. I told you about that.
I need to get into Vision.
Yeah, it's hype for a reason. Like, the last issue has like the slightest. Actually, the last two issues have had like the slightest Civil War like mentions. But like overall, it's Tom King's story about his family and him, and it's dark. It's like real dark.
So I got a question about Vision.
Yeah.
All right. I have heard that because there were some people who complained about the way Vision was in Civil War.
I loved him.
I'm wearing a shirt. I did too. I love how they did that. But how he was trying to
that scene. That scene alone.
How when they walked in, he was sitting on the couch. He's got like his little sweater on, and his corduroys there.
Yeah.
But this is my question: is I had heard like that in the movie was him trying to do his impersonation of what he thinks it is to be normal. Yeah. Is that what they're doing in the Vision comic? Is it essentially like him trying to do what he thinks is normal?
He's trying to be, he wants his family to be this perfect family. And
that just sounds awesome.
And things don't go well. Like, I can't spoil this one for you just because.
No, I'm gonna jump on Vision. When I heard it described in that way, I was like, that sounds interesting, but I wanted to make sure from someone who's actually reading it if that's what it is. Because if that's what it is, I want to read that.
Yeah, Vision's one of my favorite characters. I want to see that. Like when I got
Vision, I've always liked Vision, and I've always thought Vision was kind of slept on because he was always relegated to just like the android that's on the Avengers.
Exactly. Yep.
Who happens to have a thing for Scarlet Witch?
Yeah. He was never really used. I think. Besides, what story was that? I want to say he was fighting the big story where he's fighting, not Galactus, but Thanos. I think there was a big story with him. That might have been like the only story that he was like really used as like a powerful and smart being. But yeah, this Tom King's actually like giving him feelings and giving the whole family feelings, and
I love that.
It's almost like he's writing a love letter. It's really hard to describe or not hard to describe, but his writing is just perfect. But yeah, besides that, Marvel wise, I'm behind on Black Panther.
Same here.
I have like the first 3 issues, I think, but that book is so dense. Like I feel like I have to sit down and I might have to actually get that one in trade because I'm probably gonna butcher his name, Tanishi Coates. I'm not familiar.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I know he's a novelist. I haven't read any of his stuff. But yeah, it's his first time writing comics, and he's like getting used to it. But he's telling a good story so far. But I want to actually sit down and because there's a lot of politics so far. So it's one of those things. Granted, I don't like a lot of politics in my comics, but he's writing it so far in a good way. I mentioned Howard the Duck. It's been fun. I think he just ended his series with that. I thought there was one more, but I guess it ended after 11. But that's been good. I'm trying to think what else Marvel. There's so much. I know there's something else Marvel I've been thinking, but I guess from Image, Ed Brubaker. He's been writing Kill or Be Killed with Sean Phillips. Okay. He writes. It's more of like they usually team up and do crime noir type stories.
Okay, that's the one you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So he's doing like a vigilante type book now, but it's like a different take on a superhero. It's pretty good.
So it's a vigilante book, but yet it's crime noir.
Yeah. There's still some noir in it. The gist of it is a guy who's down on his luck, tries to commit suicide, and he lives through it. And there's this demon who shows up, and you're not sure if he's real or not yet. And he said, for saving your life, you have to kill someone every day to stay alive.
Oh. Oh, okay. That's an interesting story.
Yeah, so he's killed his first person so far, which is good. I won't spoil it if anyone wants to read it, but if you know Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, like their team up is always great. Valiant Comics are doing great things. They're doing Generation Zero. I'm just now getting into Valiant. Like I remember seeing Valiant like a long time ago, but I just like never really like picked them up or anything like that because they did like Bloodshot. I don't know if you recognize that at all.
I remember. I remember Bloodshot.
Yeah, it was.
I never read Bloodshot, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it when I was younger. But I've been reading Generation Zero from them. They're like they're kind of like the New Mutants. I would describe them. It's like New Mutants meets Stranger Things. If you've seen that yet, that's really good. And then they have Faith. She's part of like a superhero group previously, the Harbingers. Ugh. Always fuck it up. Harbingers. And they disgrouped after a while. I've been meaning to go back and read their story, but they disgrouped, and now she's like a Superman of the Valiant universe.
I've seen Faith.
Yeah.
I know of her.
And then they have War Mother, which is really dope. It's like a Mad Max Fury Road, like Furiosa. Like, think Furiosa, but like Latin. But with a lot of like weird other shit going on. It's a one shot so far. So I'm hoping that it gets picked up where they plan on announcing it real soon, because I know they have New York Comic Con next week.
Yeah, I think that's coming up like next week or week after, something like that.
Yeah, and they're making I know a big announcement for their Ninjak web series.
I was about to say I know about Ninjak.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
I just saw the pictures for Ninjak.
Yeah.
Dude
from
it's
Deadshot, the guy that played Deadshot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that should be interesting. And one more thing from Image is Rick Remender's new book, Seven to Eternity. It's kind of like a futuristic sci-fi type book. Definitely worth checking out. I can't remember which Marvel stuff he's written. I feel like he did some Ultimate stuff, Rick Remender. Are you familiar with him?
I'm searching right now. Like I'm thinking like,
okay, yeah.
Has he written any? I'm sure he probably has, but it's the question of what.
But yeah, it's a good book so far. It's on its first issue, so that's a monthly book. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions so far that I've picked up these past couple weeks.
Well, as you were saying that, you made me think of something else that I am definitely highly anticipating. I can't believe I forgot about this, and it's from DC. I am anticipating Super Sons.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
I am excited for that. I am excited for Super Sons. When I first heard them announce it and saw the first initial picture of it, I was sold off the jump. I don't have to hear the story synopsis. Mm-hmm. I don't have to see any panels. They sold me on Super Sons.
DC has a lot of. I feel like DC has a lot up their sleeve right now, and as long as they can keep up what they're doing, like the titles that they're gonna put out are just gonna be like really good, and hopefully they just keep getting good writers on them. Because I heard Justice League book has been horrible. Like it's getting really really bad reviews, like all around, and it sucks. Because that was like one of the books I was like kind of looking forward to. What I want is a JSA. I'm waiting for them to announce a Justice Society book. Like, why hasn't that been announced yet? Like, it makes no sense.
Especially with them bringing in the old continuity back into the fold.
Exactly.
Bring out the JSA. Bring them out.
Yeah.
And also they're doing the Justice Society on the CW shows, like on
Our Man
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
The second season of Legends of Tomorrow is essentially going to be the Justice Society versus the Legion of Doom.
Yep. So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting
So
for sure.
now would be the time for them to throw them back in the comics.
And you got Jay Garrett already. Like, he's
Yep.
there. Like, so yeah, the CW TV is doing good. At least they're bringing it in, bringing the Justice Society in. But yeah, the DC books are going to be good. This Young Animal series that they're doing, I never read any Doom Patrol growing up.
I never did either.
It's a good first start. It's just it's a weird one. Like you get introduced to like a couple new characters, and then they throw in a lot of the old ones, but there's really no like story yet. They're kind of like just introducing you, showing you where everyone is and whatnot. So I think it's gonna like start to pick up, and the art is like really really dope on there as well. So, but yeah, DC's killing it. I love Marvel and I love DC, but I think I've always been a DC kid growing up. But I love them both, like equally. A little DC more right now, because Marvel needs after Civil War. I need to see what they do.
I can respect that. Like I like both. Marvel's what got me in the game. I can't hate DC because like you were talking earlier about Batman '89. Like I was in the theaters when that came out to see Batman '89 and Batman Returns. Like I was a huge Batman fan. I watched the Batman animated series faithfully, just like I watched the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man faithfully. Like that was a prime time because we had both Marvel and DC doing things for people who are interested in these kind of things, you know, comic characters and this kind of what's now pop culture. You know, I just think it's hilarious that these are the things that, you know, I would have got laughed at as a kid for liking at school and everything, but now it's pop culture. Like this is like Comic Cons are huge. You know, how many comic book shows do we have on TV? How many comic book shows do we have? Movies do we have? Adaptations and all of that. Video game. Everything is trying to get a piece of comic books, whether it be Marvel,
trading
whether
cards,
it be DC, whether like everything, whether most of Funko Pop's stuff is comic book related. Like they do other stuff, but the majority of their stuff that they put out is comic.
Yeah, which is good. It's definitely a good time to be a comic fan. If you're reading it and seeing it on TV. Yeah, it's definitely a good time.
And watching it in the theaters and like
seeing Civil War gave me chills like that.
Yes.
That and Civil War and probably Winter Soldier and Guardians are like my top 3 right now. And
all great movies. Guardians was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I just love. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I love how they're able to take now characters that unless you read the comic books, you don't know who they were. Mm-hmm. The average person doesn't know who the Guardians are. When I first heard they were doing Guardians, I was like, really?
Yeah, like, I knew of them, but I never read their stuff. But I was like, oh, that's okay.
but see, people would ask me, and I'd be like, yeah. Like people at work would be like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, who are they? Is that a comic book? I'm like, yeah, it's a comic book. Who are they? I'm like, they're like D-list.
Yeah.
Like, they're down on the list.
They didn't even use the original Guardians either.
No.
Which is funny.
They used the ones that were more popular though. Like because in the comic that's the version that was more popular. And they didn't even use the full team.
Yep.
Like they just used part of that team that was popular in the comics. I didn't care because I wanted to see Groot and Rocket. I really want to see Rocket. Like I love Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, Rocket. That's my dude.
And I felt they did him great in the movie.
Yeah.
I love how they did Groot. You know, I was never a Drax fan, but I like how they did Drax.
Yeah,
like,
the whole cast.
The whole cast, everybody. Like,
you got to see Thanos sit in a chair again, but whatever.
Oh, man. But you know what? As a fan, that was even more hype to me than when he was at the end of the Avengers.
Yeah,
because I was geeked at the end of the Avengers because I was like, oh, it's Thanos. And then it was like, you know, what was the line? It was like,
is that when he grabs
to challenge the Earthling is just court death.
Yeah, is
that
when
he grabs Thanos smile like.
Is that the one where?
But see, and that's the thing. I was. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That got me even more hyped when I saw him. Was that Avengers 2?
I think that was Avengers
when he did that
2. Yeah.
When he was like, "Forget it, I'll do it myself."
Yeah.
When he pulled the gauntlet out, I was like, "Oh, it's about to be on." He got the gauntlet.
Yeah. At least they're filming it right now. I know they're, which is good. So, man,
I can't wait. Especially they're talking about like, I think they said they're supposed to have like 67 heroes or something like that in that movie.
Oh yeah, they there was an interview. They were kind of just like making fun. They were like, there probably won't be 67, but
there won't be 67.
There'll be enough. There'll be 40.
When they announced that, I was like, there's not going to be 67, but there's going to be a ton.
Yeah.
Like they're going to pull out some major surprises. Like I know they got the thing going on now where they're not crossing over the Netflix stuff with the movie stuff, but I think that if there's ever a time for them to do that or to surprise everybody, it's Infinity War.
It is.
They didn't do it with Civil War. Civil War would have been probably the one I would have been like,
that would have been
Civil War.
That would have been a good
That's
one
perfect.
Before. Yeah. Yep.
And it's funny because the guy that plays Daredevil was even like, he wanted to be in Civil War. He was like, I read Civil War. Daredevil didn't do anything in Civil War.
Nah.
He's like, I can just be in the back like, yup.
Chilling.
And that could be my scene.
I could be someone's lawyer.
Yeah. So, if they didn't do it in Civil War, which I understand why they didn't, that would have definitely overshadowed. And yeah, it was already crowded. But that's the thing, is that Marvel is able to juggle what traditionally would be a crowded movie.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, you only want like maybe 2 people that are the main characters. If you're doing an ensemble, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they managed, with the Avengers, they managed to juggle. Everybody gets time to shine.
Yeah.
Everybody plays a major part in the story.
Unlike
Apocalypse. There is no...
Everyone gets their moment, even if it's like 4 minutes. Everyone gets their moment.
Yeah. And they find a way to. I love the way that they're able to have them fight as a team and trade off the shine mid fight. So like, I think it was Age of Ultron, that first fight, and you got like Captain America throwing his shield and everything. He catches his shield and he puts it in the air, and all of a sudden Thor comes out and hits it, and then all of a sudden it flips over, and it's like Black Widow over here doing something. The way that they're able to juggle all that and still keep it an interesting action scene and show them working as a team is amazing. I think that's something that DC is going to have to learn how to do with their like Justice League and stuff. They're going to have to pick something up from that.
Yeah, I want DC to like do their own thing for sure, but just do it the right way. Like,
oh yeah,
you can take little things that Marvel like do, but you can still turn it into something your own, and give your as long as they give their directors or their. I mean, we can't even say DC. It's more WB.
Yeah, it's more Warner Brothers.
Yeah, WB needs to just lighten up and just let these people look at Kevin Feige. Have Jeff Johns be your Kevin Feige, have Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck be your Kevin Feige for DC.
And it's funny because Ben Affleck is taking like so much creative control right now. Like he's lightweight trying to fill that position a little bit. Like, look, you guys need a couple people that's going to like A, respect the source material, and B, rein some of this stuff in, because some of the things you guys are doing are ridiculous. Like
if you want me around, if you want me to stick around, don't make me look.
You want me to stick around and do like these 3 Batman movies or appear as Batman X amount of times in your movies? You gonna have to give me a lot of creative control.
Yes.
And I'm liking that. Just like with Ryan Reynolds, like I'm liking when you have somebody who respects that material enough to go like, look, I know you want to make this money, but doing it your way is not going to work. If you stick closer to the material, people will come to see it in flocks. Mm-hmm. That's why Marvel succeeds so much. Like, they're changing some stuff here and there, but they stick so close to the material and the characters that you want to see the next Marvel movie.
Yeah.
They can throw out an Ant-Man or they can throw out a Guardians of the Galaxy where nobody knows who they are outside the comic book community,
And they
but
will make
people
that a
want to
big
see
name. Yeah, we'll make them a big name.
Yeah, because Guardians, like after Guardians came out, they was oh man, Guardians, that's like the greatest Marvel movie ever.
Yeah.
Ant-Man came out, and they was like Ant-Man's not gonna be that good. And it's like, oh, Ant-Man is so great. It's got so much heart, and it's a heist movie. That's the other thing too,
Mm-hmm.
is that all their movies aren't just straightforward superhero movies.
Yeah.
You know, Ant-Man is a heist movie. Like that's like Ocean's 11 is a heist movie. You know, that's you got to break into this and steal this and do this. We need to plan. We need to assemble a team. It's a heist movie.
Yeah.
You know, the way they're talking about Thor Ragnarok sounds like it's gonna be a buddy cop movie almost.
Yeah, I haven't liked the. I know we're getting into a rant. Everyone, this is our first podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that.
This is just shooting the shit, and
yeah,
we know you're gonna like it. So, but we're just having fun.
Bear with us.
Yeah, we're having fun. I haven't liked the first two Thor movies, but Thor Ragnarok,
Really?
I think is going to be off the chain. Like, I think Marvel's casting between Netflix and their movies, like lately, excuse me, probably within the past 3 or 4 years, their casting has been on point.
Point.
They know what they're doing. They know what they want. Like, that's why I'm excited for Ragnarok. It's like the cast is on point. Valkyrie, what is her name? Tessa Thompson, right?
I think that's her name.
Yeah, from Creed. Like,
yeah,
like we're getting Valkyrie in a movie, and the Collector, played by Jeff Goldblum.
No, not the Collector. He's
no, that's Guillermo.
Yeah, that's the Tormo.
What is his name?
Is it the Ancient One?
Not the Ancient One. That's Tilda.
No, not the Ancient One. What is the Collector's brother? It's his brother.
That's what I'm trying to.
The one that likes to play the games.
I want to. It's like Chess Master, something comic book goofy like that.
I was about to say, you about to make me look it up.
Yeah, it's gonna bug us. Grandmaster.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and then they also
I think he's gonna be an awesome Grandmaster.
Yeah, they also just added dude from Jurassic Park 2. The main guy who was in Jurassic Park.
The original Jurassic Park?
Yeah, the original one.
As who?
I don't know yet. I don't think that's been announced. But he's going to be in it too. So it's like a Jurassic Park reunion.
Yeah, but there's a reunion. Is a T-Rex in it too?
Probably, hopefully. There'll probably be there'll be like some kind of weird Easter egg T-Rex in there.
It'll probably be a Hulk will probably fight it in the arena or something.
Right. So I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be good. But yeah, their Marvel game's killing it. I'm still not like, I'm a Doctor Strange fan, but I'm not like super hyped for that movie yet. I'm still been avoiding everything. I think it's gonna be like on point. I just want to avoid everything first, I think, and just go into it and just see what they do. Because, like, whew.
All I did was I watched 2 of the trailers. That's all I'm going to watch of it.
Yeah.
I do not want that spoiled. From the 2 trailers I saw, it looks like they got the character down pat.
Yep.
It looks like they got the backstory down pat. And it looks like they're going to have those crazy visuals that you see in a Doctor Strange comic down pat. That's all I want.
Old Jack Kirby drawings and stuff like that.
Yeah. When they said they were doing Doctor Strange, that was my biggest thing, was like, what are the visuals going to look like? Because you're dealing with psychedelic visuals and everything where, like, he's in dimensions that look like they shouldn't even exist.
Mm-hmm. And I saw...
And from the preview...
Yeah, there was some of the concept art that they put out. And it was like on point, like I would say like a new age Jack Kirby on LSD. Like the concept art was like dope. So I'm really excited to see how they pull it off. But yeah, that'll be good. But then
as am I.
Yes, and then the big Black Panther. Woo!
Oh,
man,
that's probably next to Infinity War. That's probably the most.
Yes, yeah.
Is Black Panther.
Yeah.
I told you this before.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was I told you this before too. I'm kind of bummed it's so pushed back. I kind of wish it would have been one of their earlier ones. But I'm fine with the wait just because of the crew and the cast they have lined up. I'm writing it, so it'll be worth it.
That was a big pushback because originally Black Panther was supposed to be part of Phase 1.
Okay.
And most people don't know, like, Phase 1 was supposed to have Iron Man, obviously, but it was supposed to have Doctor Strange, it's supposed to have Black Panther, and it was supposed to have Ant-Man. And obviously 3 of those movies got pushed back to, what are we in now, Phase 3 now?
Yeah.
Part of that, well, Ant-Man was the end of Phase 2, I think. I think technically Ant-Man was supposed to be the last movie in Phase 2.
I think it was.
Because Ant-Man came right after Age of Ultron.
Yep, that was like the last one, yep.
But I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I would have loved to have them sooner, but especially Doctor Strange and Black Panther, those are 2 characters you have to really take your time to get right.
Yeah,
and from Civil War, they got Black Panther right.
Yeah,
just
and they've grown since Iron Man. So who knows? Who knows if they would have done Doctor Strange and Black Panther back then when they were doing Iron Man? Like if it would still be, it wouldn't have been the same movies that we're about to get, coming up. I don't think, because like they're at top of their game with the casting and getting writers on.
I think back then what they did was. They chose Iron Man because Iron Man is not a lot of people knew Iron Man, but he seems to be the safest one to do with the biggest possibility of making him big, especially with the way we have technology and stuff now. Tony Stark was the great kickoff character.
Exactly.
And then from there, I think they wanted to do those characters because personally, as a company, Marvel was like, we love these characters. These are great characters. But I think they took a step back and was like, we need to do people that are a little bit more bankable and have a little bit more recognition than these characters.
Yeah, let's build
so that's why we
ended
up getting. That's why we ended up getting Captain America.
Yeah,
and we ended up getting Thor.
They did it smart.
The people that people know.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about Luke Cage season 1.
Give us the money.
Yo, I don't like your tone.
Excuse me?
You're being disrespectful. It's unnecessary.
Ooh. Yo, Amos.
What up?
Show the man what you famous for.
You want some?
And we are back to talk about Luke Cage. We both watched it over this past weekend. Got all caught up. I didn't binge it. I broke it up. I think you did too, right?
Yeah, broke it up.
So
2 days.
What's that?
I said over 2 days I broke it up.
I think it was 3 days for me, but it felt like 2 since I work overnight. My days are all fucked up. But yeah, people, we're going to be talking about Luke Cage. There's probably going to be some spoilers.
Probably. There's spoilers, so
yes.
If you don't want to be spoiled,
listen to
this part.
Listen to all this, and then come back and listen to this part again.
Yeah, go watch fun. Luke Cage, and then come back and see what we think.
Yes. All right, yeah, let's get into it. Actually, you know what? Let's start here. How would you rank your Marvel Netflix shows at the moment?
That's a tough one because obviously Daredevil kicked everything off, and Daredevil was stupendous. Like, it was more than I was hoping for. And then season 2 of Daredevil was even more than I was hoping for. After watching Luke Cage, I loved Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones was great. Only issue I had with Jessica Jones, and this is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Jessica Jones, was what they did to the Purple Man, to Kilgrave at the end. I have an issue with anything comic book related, whether it be TV show or movies, when you have a villain who is like linked to the character or pops up regularly throughout, the run of the character.
Yeah.
And you get rid of them to where they're probably not going to come back. I don't like that. I used to hate that about like some of the early superhero movies where they would kill the villains at the end.
Marvel,
you're like,
yeah,
it's a
Marvel
good movie.
Marvel likes to do that for some reason.
Yeah, I would argue some of those deaths though. Some of those deaths, I don't think they're really dead.
No.
I think they left a way to bring certain people, like the Red Skull. I think they left
Red
a way
Skull
to bring the
sure.
Red Skull back.
Oh yeah, for sure. But he ain't coming back unless it's someone else.
But Crossbones,
Crossbones dead. Crossbones dead.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. Red Skull can come back. Crossbones, he's gone.
Yeah, I was a little bummed.
But that's how I would rate my Netflix experience. It's a little hard for me to really rate them because, like I said, Daredevil season 1 was great. Season 2 was awesome. Like if I had to,
just initial,
it'd be a toss up between initial. It would probably be Daredevil season 2 and Luke Cage would be tied for number 1, okay. And then Daredevil season 1 would be 2, and then Jessica Jones would be 3.
Okay.
I know. I just like worked around that kind of, but that's how I would rate it. I can't pick a one.
It's hard. So if I'd have to rank my my favorites from the Marvel Netflix series, it's a toss up between Daredevil season 2 and Luke Cage for number 1. Daredevil season 1 for my second/third, and then Jessica Jones last. At this moment, I like Jessica Jones, okay. But I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to be what it was. It was still a good show. I liked it, but yeah. I know a lot of people don't like it, but for whatever reasons. But it wasn't a superhero show. It was that was more of a detective type story, but with like a hint of like a little bit of superhero action going on.
That's pretty much what her book was,
exactly.
Though.
And if you didn't read it, you're probably not used to it. But yeah, man, let's get into Luke Cage. My first thought when I was watching it, the first episode gave me the way it was shot. It reminded me right off the bat like I was watching a Spike Lee like movie.
Yeah,
like, it had that tone, like whatever texture they threw on there. So like it got you in the mood like right away of like you feel like you're in Harlem, like you're there.
Yep, this is New York. Yeah. This is Harlem.
We're not in Hell's Kitchen right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. What were your first initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were saying I was like, this is definitely, because I know they said beforehand this was like the hip hopification of the Marvel universe, and that's what it felt like. Like it felt like you said, like we were in Harlem. Like you seen Daredevil, you seen Jessica Jones, so you know about Hell's Kitchen and everything. But this really felt like, even though it's still in New York, this felt like another world. Like it had a whole totally different feel.
Like how they both of them, Luke Cage and Night Nurse, like travel. You felt
which is official now. It's official now. I was watching and I called and I was like, now I've been seeing her pop up in the other shows. I'm like, she's gotta be the Night Nurse. And then the dude was like, well, hey, Night Nurse, what are you doing here? And I was like, Night Nurse.
That was my mental thought. I was like, yep. And then when she was meeting the doctor, or when she took him to that doctor, he was like, I could teach you so much, all this. How did you learn this? Like, yeah, she's smart. She's a Night Nurse. I'm fine with that.
Night Nurse. It's official. It's a Night Nurse.
But yeah, the whole hip hop feel, like it's a different tone of a show. Yeah, definitely from you're saying, we've seen Hell's Kitchen, we've seen how Daredevil and Jessica Jones work over there, and now it's like you're in his neighborhood, just kind of hanging out with him. They didn't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I was going to say that I love how they set it up like that, because they didn't just like jump right into it and introduce you to the neighborhood. You just kind of hung out for a little bit. Just kind of hung out, met some of the people real fast. You see what Luke Cage has been doing since Jessica Jones, keeping it low key and everything. Got to meet Pops, and And I thought it was funny because I was always like, how are you going to start this show? Like, what's a good way to get this show started? And considering that, it's Harlem. Harlem is a traditionally black neighborhood. And it was interesting that it started in the barbershop.
Him just sweeping up.
I was like, they started in the barbershop.
Talking basketball, the bucket, the no swear bucket.
Yeah, the swear bucket was hilarious.
List on the way you're getting free haircuts. I think they had like a bunch of basketball players on there for the free.
Yeah, and it was like if your name's not like Malcolm X or it was something like that. Then you pay for your haircut.
Felt very homey, like especially for our first like black superhero, like on his. I think that this is like officially the first black superhero like with its own show. Steel.
No,
it
is. No, stop. Because I actually like Steel, and I hate what they did when they did the movie.
I need to go
back.
That's
a discussion for another time, though.
But I need to go back and.
No, I'm talking about the comic. Like I like the character Steel in the comic, but I hate
the movie. The movie, horrible.
Yeah. I actually watched Luke Cage with my girl. Like we watched it together, and before we watched it, that's what I told her. I was like, I can't just hit play. Like I need to prepare myself for this because this is the first official foray into a black hero. This is not just like a cameo. I don't count Steel because they did Steel completely wrong.
Yeah, you can't count War Machine.
Luke Cage, I can't count War Machine because War Machine's a cameo.
He's probably gonna die at some point.
And Luke Cage is, even in the comic, Luke Cage is basically a regular guy who just happened to have some unfortunate things happen to him, and now he has these powers that he kind of really doesn't want.
Yeah, that stuck out for me is like the fact that he was now out in public, like showing off his powers. Like it almost reminds nowadays in comics they do a lot of like since cell phones, like you see that in comics, like in the new Power Man Iron Fist run, like they're like taking pictures of Danny Rand,
taking pictures of him.
So like you see that in the show, like it was a good show all around. It had that comic book feel. The coffee when
the coffee was hilarious. I don't even like coffee. Yeah. She knows that.
What else?
Oh man, and it was funny because I love Cottonmouth. I like the way they did Cottonmouth as a villain. Like I was like because I knew going into it essentially he was going to be like the Harlem Kingpin. Like I knew that going into it, like this dude's going to be like Kingpin.
Yeah, they kind of mentioned that too.
But I'm not sure what that actor's name is. That's the first time I've seen him in anything.
That's the first.
But
he's amazing. He's House of Cards.
Yeah,
watch that sometime.
I never watched House of Cards.
He's been in a couple other things too.
He was amazing juggling the different aspects of Cottonmouth because he could have just went in there and he could have just been like, okay, I think I'm Scarface. Yep. I run Harlem. But he was so layered. Like he had that part of him that really didn't want to be doing this. Like he really like the episode flashback. When they showed that he was essentially a prodigy on the piano, and it was like everybody wanted him.
That's
like
why,
no,
that's
this
why
is
he
his
wanted that club.
He can make something
that's
of
why
himself.
He wanted that club.
Yeah,
like, this is the only music I have like left that I can do with. You know what I mean?
And it was funny because this is something probably that I'm touching on, but with Luke Cage being like the first black hero aspect with the TV show, and with it taking place in a predominantly black neighborhood and everything, there were a lot of things that they put into that show that directly talk to different aspects of being black and being black in America. That was one because they were essentially talking about how like we have a lot of people that are talented and are genius. Yeah, they spring it throughout the show. But for Cottonmouth, that was like we have a lot of people who are talented and geniuses and can do such bigger things and be such great people, but due to surroundings and neighborhoods, they end up like Cottonmouth. Because Cottonmouth could have been like a world famous pianist. Like he could, like they were talking about sending him to Juilliard. Like seen him. He's like, I don't write the music down. I hear it in my head and play. It's like, he could have been famous. He could have been for that, you know. But other things like the whole thing with the hoodies, like it was like
at the end
they're saying a lot of stuff at the right time in American history, because first I was already commenting on how like you got this black hero who's going around, he's bulletproof and everything. Even the incident when the police stopped him, and I was like, they stopped him. He's got a hoodie on. He's going to get shot. Like something's going to go down just because he's got a hoodie on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even the fact that the incident with Method Man, the fact that they took something like I was like, oh, it's meth. It is meth. And I was like, is he playing meth? And then he started talking. I was like, oh, he's playing meth. He's supposed to be meth. But the fact that they took that and they turned something negative into something positive. You saw everybody start walking down the street with the hoodies on. I was like, that's something that would happen. That would straight happen
within the community.
That would happen. It's got to do with the corner store selling the hoodies.
When he put on the headphones before he goes to Rec Shop and Wu-Tang plays, I just like smiled. I was like, yes.
This is the thing is they showed that on the first trailer. Like that was the trailer that sold me, or I was already
sold. Did they
play
play the same music that had me in the trailer? Okay, that's what I thought.
No, they played ODB.
Yeah, okay,
I Like
It
Raw.
Right, yeah.
That was on the trailer.
I was like, okay,
I Like It Raw.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, that was the intro to Inner 36 Chambers that he played in the show. Okay. I think that was the intro. Pretty sure it was. But that was one of my favorite scenes. Yes. That was one of the scenes I was waiting for the whole time Luke Cage was about to come out. So I wanted to see how that whole scene played out. And it was better.
Yes, I think that was either before or after he had his monologue with that kid who had the gun.
Oh, it was after. Yeah. It was after because the episode before was when he was going to go into Fort Knox, and then the kid stopped him and he gave the monologue. No, that was at the beginning. Yeah, that was at the end of one episode. He gave him one beginning, and then they played the rest of it at the end because he had the little flashback, and then it came back to that part with the monologue. He knocked kid out, and then he went in.
That was a great monologue. That was like a Punisher, like you can tell they pulled like some. They're doing little things from their other shows to like keep it smooth, and I like that a lot about it.
And that's what I was thinking, because that scene reminded me of in Daredevil season 1 of my favorite scenes, which was like a lot of people's favorite scenes, was when he was in the hallway and they just had that fight where they was going in and out the rooms, and it was just like brutal. And then in season 2 of Daredevil, they did the staircase, but then they also did the fight with the Punisher when he was in the cell block.
That was great.
And both of those was like awesome scenes, and that's what that felt like. That felt in the same vein as like those 3 scenes. And Luke Cage just wrecked shop. Like he just went in there and just tore everything apart.
It was a smooth like him fucking shit up. It wasn't martial arts.
He grabbed that car door.
Martial arts or like anything. It was just him like knocking like, hey, get out of here, smacking him across the face.
That was the other thing. The other thing I found funny about the series was just what you just said. It was the way he was hitting some of those people. Because some of the people he was like just tapping and knocking out. Like, I think at one point he smacked some dude with like 2 fingers and knocked him out. So there's like some of the stuff he was doing was ridiculous. I think towards the end when the one goon came out and he was like the martial artist and he was doing all the kicks and everything, he jumped up and Luke just grabbed him and tossed him over his shoulder.
That was great. And then when Turk showed up, man, I love seeing Turk. Every time he shows up,
you know what?
Like, here comes trouble.
Every time he shows up, you knew it was like nothing good was going to happen. Nothing.
He had like a bigger role. I think this is the biggest role he's had so far as like screen time was in this show. Because he appeared like a couple times or a few times, I think.
Yeah, because he was there a few times towards the beginning, and then I think once or twice in the middle, and then once towards the end. Yeah,
love seeing Turk. It's always good. He's in Homeland.
Oh man,
the guy who played not Homeland. House of Cards. Him and Cottonmouth are in that show.
That's funny that that's a
and
Netflix show.
No, I was gonna say.
And it's funny that now they're pulling from other Netflix shows
and that's what I was gonna say too. Yeah,
supply quality actors.
Casting a lot of the time, like a lot of the shows, they seem to like keep their like Netflix crew, like they take care of them, which is cool. But then you see a lot of like people you haven't seen in a long time, like pop up, which is awesome.
Oh.
There was the lady from The Wire. She was in there.
Yes.
There was a couple other cameos too, but she was the one that stuck out to me. That was really dope. And I'm not gonna say the show. It's hard to say it reminds me of The Wire, because it's like The Wire is The Wire, but
it's The Wire.
You can tell like that influenced Luke Cage.
That they was kind of aiming for that a little bit,
like slightly, but they did a fucking amazing job. Misty Knight.
Which is funny because I was telling my girl when we was first watching it, and I was like, I think that's Misty Knight. And she's like, who's Misty Knight? So I had to explain Misty Knight and Danny Rand and everything to her, and she's like, oh, okay. Then the coffee thing happened, and she was like, I think Iron Fist is gonna be a little mad about that.
yeah, just a little bit. They played it off though.
As soon as she said, oh, my name is Misty Knight, I was like, oh. And then the whole time I was watching, like, is the arm going to happen? Like,
I'm glad
see the arm.
A fake out, like, right now.
Yeah. I kind of am too. Part of me was a little bit excited that they would actually try to do it, but then the other part of me was like, if they are going to do it, I don't think now would be the right time to do that. Like, if you were going to do it, I don't think you should do it now. I think that might be too much.
Yeah, the way they were setting her up, there wasn't a reason for that to happen to her. But yeah, it's cool that it was like it's coming. Like they're like, hey, here's a little sprinkle.
It was like, hey, nudge, nudge. Y'all, you guys know what this is, but it's not going to happen right now. But just know that it is going to happen.
A lot of things they were dropping too was setting up Heroes for Hire. Man. Like,
yes, they said Heroes for Hire.
Claire brought it up. She was like, I can help you. We can do something.
Everybody brought it up.
Everyone.
Like, everybody brought it up. They was like, I would pay for this, your kind of protection. It's like, really? Like, seriously, you guys going to do? Man, you should be some kind of Hero for Hire. So I was like, really? Like, it was in there
What are they going to do at the barbershop?
Much. Which is what I said. Like, at the end, when they had that fight in the barbershop, and I was before dude said it just doesn't want to be a barbershop. That's what I was like, man, that place just can't be a barbershop. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And I turned to my girl and was like, they're Heroes for Hire in the comic, but she's like, yeah. I was like, no, it's like an actual business. Like they have a location you can go to. I was like, that barbershop is looking real nice right now.
That's in the Marvel universe. Like that's so dope. And the cinematic, I guess not cinematic, unfortunately. It will be at some point. But one thing I was going to say...
The thing is, all it takes is a couple lines to make it in the cinematic universe. Like, that's all it takes is a couple lines. All it takes is Tony Stark going like, you ever happen to Harlem? Boom, it's there. It's there.
One thing, did you notice when Misty Knight, she was walking away and she pulled that piece of paper off of the wooden pole? Did you read that poster?
the martial arts paper.
His name?
It was it was like some kind of martial arts class.
Colleen Young was on there.
I was trying to read it. I didn't see who was on there, but I was
looked at it. I was like, hold on, she's pulling something off and I was like, Colleen Young? Yeah.
Yeah, I just seen the little martial arts guy on it. Was
Colleen Wing, excuse me.
Yeah, they put. I think that Luke Cage may be the show that they put the most Easter eggs in, because there was so much stuff in it. Like, this is the first one since Daredevil season 1 where they referenced the Avengers, and they referenced the Avengers heavily in Luke Cage. Like, there were so many times they referenced Thor
camera.
and all. It's like, I'm not a god. The dude was selling the videos.
Movies.
He's like,
making his own movies.
Yes. At the end, he was like, bring your 4K camera. He's like, Luke Cage is just going down right now.
Shit. Yeah, like,
but they reference the Avengers so much, so many like I'm not a guy with a hammer,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not a big green monster, and it was just
it didn't
so
feel
much.
like too much either. Like it was just sprinkled out,
Huh.
like these superpower people, and like that's a
And
it's
that's
crazy
the
too.
thing.
Like people know who Luke Cage. I think I brought it up already, but yeah, everyone knows who Luke Cage is now. So that I think the only people know who Tony Stark is, and now Luke Cage. I'm not sure if they know who anyone else is.
I mean, you could say Captain America.
Yeah.
Captain America. I mean, he's in a
Yeah,
museum, so like everyone knows.
Bucky.
You know, but as of right now, like only certain people know Bruce Banner is the Hulk, though.
But overall, it's cool that not that many people are known right now. But it's interesting that like Luke Cage is out there. Like everyone knows.
He's out there. News,
everyone
everything
knows about him now. Like he's gone viral. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he went viral. One of the other Easter eggs that I picked up on like right away was towards the beginning when they were doing the gun deal, and I saw the gun case said what was it, Hammer Industries on it.
Hammer, what's that a reference to?
Hammer Industries. That was what was it? Justin Hammer. Justin Hammer was Tony Stark's biggest rival.
Okay.
He was in Iron Man 2. He was a dude in Iron Man 2 that funded Whiplash. Okay. And they got caught at the end, and we haven't seen or heard from him since Iron Man 2.
I couldn't figure out where the weapons were from, because I remember they said they were alien.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe it was like some weird Chitauri remains or something crazy. Okay, that makes sense now.
That's the thing, because when they after they did the Avengers, they had the little one-shots that they were doing. And some of those one-shots involved like people who found the Chitauri tech and stuff after the incident. So that made sense. Like, okay, well, of course somebody like Justin or somebody would have found it and tried to weaponize it or whatever. But like I said, we haven't heard from him since Iron Man 2 because he got whisked off to jail. Which is also funny because they talked about Seagate having like billionaires or somebody locked up in there somewhere.
Okay.
So Justin Hammer could possibly be in Seagate somewhere. Like maybe they have another like off the books type section where they have the higher profile people there.
And maybe.
And who knows?
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we don't even really know who was funding the programs and stuff that was going on in there.
We might find out soon. Because that doctor was like working on Diamondback.
Oh man. When he walked in the room, I was like, no.
And I've seen that guy, that doctor, in like a lot of stuff. He's always played like dickholes. So like, I thought at first I was like, oh, he's gonna play a dickhole, and then he started to be nice. I was like, oh, he's actually playing a good role for once. And then nope.
Yeah, and then he got his stuff back, and it was like, no, I'm a jerk.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Diamondback. Another thing that stuck out to me. It was really cool, like at the intro of a lot of the episodes when they were in there in a club and they had the band. The first one was Faith Evans. No,
the first one was Raphael Sadiq.
Okay.
The second one was Faith Evans.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know the first one.
And then
there was someone else too.
And I think at one point they had the Delphonics in there. I think it was.
I want to say a guy named Charles something. I forget his name.
That might have been the third person in there, because the fourth one I think was the Delphonics. My girl was asking me about that, and I was like, to the best of my knowledge, every musical act they had in there were from her.
Oh, word.
I think everybody. I could be mistaken. I know. I'm pretty sure though that every group or act they had in there performing actually live music was a Harlem act. It surprised
me because they had Biggie on the wall. So they were repping him.
Man, Biggie had the biggest feature out of anything. He was like every episode.
Pretty much. I'm fine with that.
Man, Life After Death for real.
And the score and the music.
Oh
man.
The music was on point. The intro was a great intro. It fit in with
Yep.
Luke Cage, and the fact that they were going for like a hip hop type feel to
I love
it.
the visual intro
The
too.
music, the visual too, especially with him having like the bridge on his back.
That was dope.
Like that really stuck out in my head with that.
Back to the music.
Between
Adrian Younge and Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Ali is from Tribe Called Quest, and Adrian.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say
Adrian Younge. He's a musician too. You ever see Black Dynamite? Okay,
I love Black Dynamite.
Adrian Younge did the score to that. So they both.
Oh, that explains a lot
together. And by far, this is probably the best score Marvel has done. Like,
yeah. I know, Guardians of the Galaxy was cool, but
as far as original,
that was like made up of a lot of existing stuff already. But this was original stuff, and it was scored very well between the music throughout the show and the music that was performed by the artists when they were in Diamondback's club. Like it all fit in tone wise
at the end at the club.
It changed.
Like, it got more ritzy, I guess. Like once Maria
it did, especially when that's what I was gonna say. Is like once the club changed hands, you start seeing how it changed. Because at first, Shades. The Shades took over, was there for a little while, and you saw he was bringing some different kind of music. And then when Maria decided to actually take over, you started seeing the change in music and everything. Because when Diamondback was there, it was pretty much more like R&B, soul, hip hop type music almost. And then it started getting, a little old school. They got a little more old school. Like you said, it got a little bit more ritzier, a little bit more fancier.
They kept going back, by the end of by the end of the season, he was thinking back to when they were like boxing, so they were taking it back way. So I wonder if I have to I'll have to rewatch and see if the music goes with the times, since they kept flashing back.
I know some of the flashbacks did, like when they went to when they first flashed back about Pops and Diamondback when they were young. It was like the 80s. It was more like an 80s type hip hop music that they had playing behind them when they was doing their stuff. So I'm pretty sure if we went back to the part where they were flashing back to boxing, I'm guessing that was probably supposed to be the 80s, maybe early 90s. Probably more early 90s. It's probably supposed to be more in the 90s and everything. So it would be interesting to see if they had more of a hardcore hip hop type sound to that scene.
Yeah, we got to talk about the tiara.
That was my next thing I was going to say was not just the tiara, but costume. No, the costume, the whole costume.
Well, he got the tiara. He got tiara and bracelets first, and then
he did get tiara and bracelets
first. At first, I thought when he was when he ripped the tiara off, I thought the whole thing was coming off, but it just left a tiara around it. I was
too.
Cool. Left the bracelets on.
Cool.
Steal some clothes. Then he was like, "Man, I look dumb as hell."
Man, this is the thing. I thought it was gonna come off too when he ripped the thing off and he stayed on. I was like, okay, so we're gonna get the tiara a little bit longer. Like you said, the bracelets, he got free. He was looking for clothes. And I seen him grab a yellow shirt, and I was like, they're not going to do that. Are they going to do that? Yeah. And then he came around the corner, and he had the Luke Cage outfit, and I was like, my goodness.
If he would have worn for at least another 3 hours, I'd have been cool with it.
I'd have been cool too, but this is the thing. I was like, the 2 or 3 seconds they showed him with it on, I was like, that's enough fan service for me. I can say I actually saw the outfit all together. I'm cool because I always thought the outfit was funny looking.
When Cottonmouth was on the roof and came out of nowhere with the rocket launcher.
Oh, man. Man.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
I wasn't either, especially because they were playing up this whole idea of possibly having a weapon to use against him.
Yeah.
But which I figured they was going to have to do. I figured at some point to get some tension in the series, you're going to have something that could possibly, hurt and or kill Luke
That
Cage.
makes sense.
But this dude popped up with a
He
rocket
was
launcher,
just pissed.
and I'm sitting there like, he's got a rocket launcher. Like
Yeah.
he just blew up half a building with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I thought that was nuts. I was like, man, that was a good touch.
Yeah, I was like, he really hates Luke Cage because a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else stood out to me. Anything else you can think of?
Well, let's see. They had all the Avenger references. We got the rocket launcher. We got Diamondback.
Yeah, Diamondback.
Like when he finally showed up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is Diamondback." I was like, I wasn't expecting that because I was thinking that Cottonmouth and his cousin were eventually
all the
going
way
to be
through. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go all the way
Same
through,
here.
and eventually, like she was going to come further into the fold until by the end, it's like they're like, we need to put both our resources together to take care of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And then Diamondback shows up, and it's like, I would have expected them to save him for like season 2 of Luke Cage. Like, I wasn't expecting see him season 1.
Yeah, they kind of did what they did with Daredevil season 2, how he had Punisher and Elektra.
Yeah, this was Punisher.
Kind of like split up the season. But yeah, they killed Cottonmouth. Pretty quick, not quickly, but out of nowhere.
About halfway through. It's about halfway through.
Halfway through. Well, yeah, that just came out of nowhere, and I'm not too familiar with Diamondback, but I looked up his suit from like the 70s costumes.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job. They just added a helmet to him, kind of thing. So
Okay.
that's cool.
So that was accurate towards the
Yeah,
end.
it's
What he
pretty
had,
accurate.
he had a helmet.
I was like, that's what's
Okay.
up. And then,
But I was not expecting that, especially because you're riding through the first half of the season and you're actually getting kind of attached to having Cottonmouth there. You're kind of like, Cottonmouth is really a good villain. Like he is seriously a good villain. I like Kingpin and Daredevil. Cottonmouth was a good villain. Like, he might have been one of my favorite Marvel villains that is not superpowered.
yeah, and I think they may have killed him off just because since they have a Kingpin.
Yeah.
Right now, they're like, probably don't. I mean, I'm fine with like having like a rogue gallery of gangsters, after the Defenders. Another thing I noticed, they changed the origin. Instead of him being busted with the heroin, they kind of switched it. And what was it? His dad. Well, Diamondback was actually his stepbrother.
Yeah.
In the end, I'm not sure. Do you know if that's canon? I didn't think that was canon.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know a lot of early Luke Cage.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that would be canon. I know that I know for a fact Cottonmouth was an actual villain he tangled with.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Diamondback he tangled with, but I'm not sure if that was like the whole half brother thing was going on. If that was something they added in because they figured it would make it, more spicier, which it did.
Yeah.
Like when that came out, it was like it's his brother. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
it's cool they changed it a little bit. I'm fine with the origin change instead of it being like, again, another like black person that gets framed for something they didn't do. And that's another thing I had wrote down. I feel like this show was for like every person that's been wrongfully accused and like has that chance, like once they're free and you have that power, like what do you do? And like I don't know, it's like another good message to the show.
I mean, speaking of that, like that I know of, they actually like kind of changed Luke Cage's origin a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not too much from what I can remember.
No, it was more I think just the relationship with Diamondback, and instead of because I think in the origin he slept with a girl that I think Diamondback liked, so he planted something on him. I think.
I was more talking about the once he was actually at Seagate.
Oh yeah, Seagate, yes.
Yeah, because from what I remember, they didn't have the whole like Fight Club thing. He was trying to keep low key at Seagate. And he like stood up for the wrong person or whatever, and that's how he ended up in the pro. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Was
okay.
that they kind of changed the way that he actually ended up in the experiment
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, which I was cool with. Another good cast member, dude from Oz, was his buddy. I was like, that was cool to see him. And then, yeah, the casting all around, like, man, they kill it with. I keep saying this, but they kill it with the casting.
Yeah,
like,
they did. Every person they cast fit the part that they were playing perfectly. Pops, like he was like I was invested like the rest of Harlem was when he died. I was like, man, that's like when they went up there and shot it up. I was like, that's Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like I was just like the rest of the people in the show. Like that's the one place that they're supposed to respect in the neighborhood to not do something like that.
That's like the safe space and the spot.
And that was another one of those things that I feel was like kind of a commentary they were given, because all the gangsters and stuff in the neighborhood that had been around for a while was the OGs knew that was Switzerland. But it was the young upcoming dude who was like, nah, forget that. Ain't no safe place. I'm going after him.
Yeah.
You know, because Shades was even like, you know, we can go over there, but you're going to wait till he come outside, right? Like, you're not about waiting till he come outside.
He just went, and that was hard. That was hard. And I was like, man, just young bucks just going like fucking buck wild and not thinking. He gets thrown off a roof, so he gets
thrown off a roof. And that was one of the other things that I liked that they did with the Cottonmouth character, because he was this big, you know, bad guy, was doing all these terrible things and everything in the neighborhood, but there was still some kind of honor there, because even he was kind of like, because like you saw how he took it, you know, that was Pops. You know, Pops was not only my friend from back in the day, but you know, what Pops was doing, even if I didn't agree with it, was a respectful thing.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it was a respectful thing. We had some kind of respect for each other. You know, they were willing to talk things out. You know, all that could have been squashed the next day.
Yeah, he was willing to meet with him. He was like, Luke Cage was like, yep, I'm set up to meet for tomorrow.
Yeah, because more than likely, Pops would have been like, you know, he's gonna get your money back, and then maybe we send him out the city. Yeah. You know, you can save face. We just send him away. You don't have to worry about him or anything. You know, you can still keep some of your rep. You got your money. Nobody else gets hurt. But it was the young upstart who was trying to shine a little bit, who wanted to make a little name for himself, and ruin it for everybody.
And I think that was his like first turning, or Cottonmouth's first turning point, when like that was the first time he threw the dude off the roof, was when he was like, first time he got real pissed, I think, too. So
that was the first time we got a hint at
him. Yep.
Because before he was just like, it's similar with the Kingpin. The Kingpin in season 1, like Kingpin was kind of he was reserved at first though.
Yeah.
And then he had the incident with the dude in the car, and he snapped, and you saw that he has that side to him that's like, you don't want to really cross him. Like, he might try to handle this respectfully, you know, he might try to do this, you know, gentlemanly in a way, but if you cross him, it's all bad for you, like, completely.
And the Netflix shows have done a really good job of giving the villains, like, good backstories. I don't think you really see that in movies, like, much.
I've often heard the argument that it's easier to do in a TV show because you have like the seasons and do that arc, and in a movie you have like, you know, 2.5 hours maybe. You know, it's kind of hard to really. It's kind of really hard to hit on all those key points, like what you can do with like Cottonmouth. Yeah. Like, he was only really in there for like 6 episodes maybe, but those 6 episodes was enough for you to really be like, he's a bad guy, but he kind of shouldn't be a bad guy.
He didn't want to be there.
Kind of feel bad for him, you know, even towards the end. And towards the end, you see how he was cracking. And how, you know, him remembering how he even got there bothers him. Yeah. You know, and he's upset that he didn't get to fulfill his actual dream. Yep. He's basically forced into this. So even there, that's like, that's some good character development. Like, you feel, it's like a comic book, you know, because a comic book you can have, you know, a 4 or 5 issue story arc You're able to build all these things in those 4 or 5 issues.
Yep.
Same thing with the TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got 13 episodes. So all the Netflix Marvel shows are like 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So you got 13 episodes to build your hero's backstory, to build the secondary characters' backstory, to build the villains, to build the tension, and then get the resolution.
Yeah.
Like, you have enough. They figured out how to do all this in 13 episodes and leave you satisfied with this as the first story.
Yeah.
You know, when the first season of Daredevil ended, did I want season 2? Yeah. But I was satisfied that the story that they set out to tell in season 1 was told and it was complete.
And it's everything's intertwining together.
Everything's wrapped up. We knew Kingpin was going to jail. We knew his crime empire had crumbled.
They even had the same lawyer, Cottonmouth.
Yes.
And
Oh my goodness. Yes.
When he showed up, that was funny. I was like,
man. See, and that's the thing is I thought what they were going to do was I thought that they were going to have Cottonmouth be the big bad, him and his cousin come together, and by the end, Luke Cage destroys their little empire in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, similar to what Daredevil did to Kingpin. They're going down, they're getting locked up and everything, and then Diamondback would probably slip in like, okay, took down my number one guy, took down this little profitable business I had. Now I need to step in.
Yeah,
and that's how I thought season 1 was going to end. I thought it was going to end with that. You know, maybe Cottonmouth and them Cottonmouth running into Kingpin in jail, and Kingpin like, you know, been watching you for a while.
Cool.
I don't like what you was doing. You was doing it kind of rogue. I run everything in this city, so you need to fall in line.
If they would have
take care of both of these people.
That'd have been dope if there was a Kingpin drop. Man.
Oh,
cool.
man. Like they did it in season 2 of Daredevil. I was not expecting Kingpin in season 2 of Daredevil whatsoever.
I had a feeling that he might like show up for like one episode, but like I was able to avoid like the spoilers, and it was like cool, and it was right out of the Frank Miller comic book when he's lifting the weights, which is cool.
I didn't see any of the spoilers for season 2 of Daredevil except like, you know, we're going to have Elektra and Punisher. That was the most that I saw.
Yep.
And then when I actually watched it and I saw the weights, I was like, wait a minute. Then he got up and I was like, I know that head.
Yeah.
And then they showed him. I was like, oh, they slipped Kingpin in here. They put Kingpin in here. So I think that'd have been great for Luke Cage, especially because we all know that Kingpin is going to get out, and when he gets out, he's essentially going to be the official Kingpin. Like I have faith that when they finally get to the point where they're probably going to maybe possibly wait until the Defenders, I'm guessing, before they bring Kingpin out as an actual villain. Because I think the villain and I'm pretty sure from the artwork and everything that the villain and the Defenders is going to be the Hand.
Yeah, more than likely.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Hand.
Especially with Danny Rand coming in, all the Mystic stuff.
You got the Mystic stuff coming in. You got Danny Rand coming in, and then the actual artwork with the Defenders logo has the Hand on it. And I think that's kind of like them going like, and then they got Stick on the little preview and everything. So I'm pretty sure like the Hand is going to be the villain.
He's a dude.
Oh man, I love Stick.
I'm glad they didn't throw Danny Rand in this season, but they hinted at it through the chick from Defenders, Colleen. Like that was like a little tie-in for Danny Rand.
Part of me kind of wanted like a small little mini cameo, but then also I agree. Like I'm kind of glad they didn't throw it in there because I want to see. I really want them to take the time and develop that relationship between Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yeah, I want to see how they meet and how that's going to work because that's going to be crazy. Once we get to Heroes for Hire, that's
the other thing. It's like I want them to build it up properly so that we can have Heroes for Hire.
It seems like
I want that.
It seems like Night Nurse, more than likely will be around too for a while. Hopefully.
Oh yeah,
and they keep building the Defenders team because they have Hellcat.
Yeah,
there too. She's in there. Well, I mean, she's not officially Hellcat, but
season 2.
So I'm hoping.
No, season 2, because they set it up for in season 1 where you seen her training and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But they didn't already say it, like, because who's the villain? They got rid of Kilgrave, so what can they really do with Jessica Jones in season 2?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Work with their relationship that they have together. So I'm a strong believer that either halfway through or towards the end of season 2 of Jessica Jones, we're gonna have Hellcat.
Yeah, Hellcat's awesome. Yeah, another one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get her.
Her comic's not too bad either. The art is like a little too cartoony, cutesy for me.
Kind of like Squirrel Girl.
I can't say I've seen a Squirrel Girl in a while.
Well, I haven't read it, but I know that her solo series that she had, like, I think it was last year, they made it super, like, cartoony, cutesy and everything.
They did the same thing. Yeah, I think this is the second volume now. So yeah, it's still the same artist. But some of the stories are okay though. But they had a Defenders variant for like a few of them, but they were all kind of lame. I was like the Iron Man or Power Man and Iron Fist one was just like them normal. Like it wasn't like a Defenders throwback. It was just like them currently, and it had like a Defenders like tag on it.
I'd have had to be like if that had been me, I need a throwback like Power Man Iron Fist cover for the variant, like something old school.
I'm gonna grab something real quick.
All right.
Oh, can you see
that? I have seen that before. Yes, that's the classic Defenders.
Yeah, for everyone on the podcast, I'm showing them the Defenders Essential. It's like the volume 4. But that'd have been cool if they would have done like some throwback like that.
And that when it was like it was Hawk, Doctor Strange, Namor.
Namor was they were the first team.
Yeah, that's something the original one.
Yeah. That's another thing, this show was kind of like a Misty Knight / Luke Cage show.
Yeah. Misty Knight was all over this show.
Yeah, they focused on her like quite a bit and like showing off her like detective skill and whatnot. That was really cool.
I think because they knew as fans we're expecting Misty Knight when we get Iron Fist.
Yeah, and when she's in the club at the end.
Oh man,
that was straight out of the comic.
This is the thing. When she went to the club at the end, I was like, "That's Misty Knight." Misty Knight. Like the hair and everything. I was like, "That is Misty Knight." Like she was kind of Misty Knight in the beginning, but that right there is Misty.
And you saw they gave her a really good arc, like throughout the show, which made her Misty Knight in the end. Like she is now like. So I wonder how long she's gonna be working with the cops, because I had a feeling like she was gonna quit by the end.
Oh yeah, I thought she was gonna quit.
And then we'd get Heroes for Hire or Defenders, like like a hint at it. That'd have been cool. But
yeah,
I bet she'll quit at least next season, or what's next? Iron Fist and then
Iron
Defenders.
Fist is next,
right?
Yep, Iron Fist and Defenders.
Okay, which is gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was watching it, and as we're getting further through the season, I'm like, man, she's about to quit, or she's gonna get fired.
Yeah,
like it kept being between she's gonna quit or get fired. Like when she when she slapped a girl.
Claire, was it Claire? Oh no, she choked Claire and then she slapped.
She choked
the other girl, I think.
Yeah, but when she choked her, I was like, "Oh, they're about to."
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're about to fire. The chief came and was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, she's fired."
Her and
she
her
wants
boss.
the badge. Put the badge on the table.
Yeah, her and the boss had like a weird like trusting, non-trusting relationship. It seemed like. It's kind of confusing at times. I was like, "What? Are you guys cool? Are you like family?" I couldn't tell.
At first, I thought her second boss, the new boss she had, the one that stepped in, I was like, she's another dirty cop.
Yeah,
because she knew Cottonmouth's cousin and everything, and like they had a history. I'm like, oh, she's another one. So now she's even in an even worse position.
Yeah.
Because we've seen at least 3 cops that are directly tied to her, around her, that are questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, it's going to happen again. And then by the end, it's like, oh no, she kind of does trust her.
Yeah.
Finally. But not really.
Yeah, it's still weird.
She kind of only trusted her because stuff started kind of adding up. Like, how are they all of a sudden talking about bringing these guns down? How was, there's too many coincidences going on. Maybe Misty's right.
Yeah, she told Misty to get her evidence. She was like, get your evidence. Show me what's up. So, and that, showing Misty is like a badass detective. And I just wonder how they're going to, like, get rid of the arm. Like, I was thinking about that the whole show. I was like, that's going to be really... I feel like it's going to be complicated to figure that out, like, get an idea. Because I can't remember how it happened in the comics.
I was thinking that... Because I know in the comics she has the Stark Tech arm. It is Stark Tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a Stark Tech arm.
Yeah, I think so. Either that or vibranium.
Well, I was thinking that since they had the hammer stuff in there, and you could tell Cottonmouth was doing something with some kind of suit, because like at least 2 episodes before he even put the suit on, I was like, he's gonna have a suit by the end.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have some kind of suit to fight Luke. Like,
I think I think that might have got spoiled for me, and I think I saw a photo of that like earlier, but I was like, okay, whatever.
I saw the glove. It was the glove for me.
Mm-hmm.
He had the glove, and it had that kind of strength. And I was like, this dude's gonna have a suit.
Yeah.
Like, he's already got stuff from Hammer Industries. Like, he's gonna have some kind of suit. I know. And so you didn't remember Justin Hammer, but I knew that Hammer was always trying to compete with Tony Stark. So I knew that he had been trying in Iron Man 2. He was trying to make Iron Man armor, but couldn't do it. So I was like, it would make sense for him to have some kind of suit that is kind of, superpower suit, but not that good of a superpower suit.
Yeah, you're going to have something that go against Luke Cage. You can't keep shooting him with bullets.
Yeah. Can't keep using them Judas bullets.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was very interesting to do that. They went somewhere I didn't expect him to go. I thought he was going to get shot with those bullets. And at first I was like, okay, well, maybe he's got some kind of power we didn't know about, where, like, if something does penetrate his skin, his body adapts to that so it doesn't do it again. That's what I thought they were going to do. And then they went to the doctor, and I was like, oh, well, the doctor is going to figure out how to somehow make his body impervious to this metal now. Yeah, and he was like, we're going to boil him in acid. Okay, well, all right then.
Yeah, right.
That's what we're doing. Oh, man, that doctor was a jerk.
But yeah, now I wonder, like, well, we know they're going to get a second season after all this is all done. Because I'm sure they're doing, like, The Punisher. Who knows what they'll... Maybe they'll have, like, their own, like, phase 2 next after Defenders. Who knows? Possibly.
They got sidetracked because originally it was supposed to have been Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders. But then Daredevil did so good, they slipped in the season 2.
They had to.
We wasn't supposed to have a season 2 of Daredevil until after Defenders.
Yeah. I remember that.
And then The Punisher, like you said, The Punisher, they did such a great job with Punisher on season 2 of Daredevil that it was like, we should do a Punisher show too.
They might as well.
So they're doing a Punisher show, which is going to end up being after Defenders. But yeah, like, they probably thinking, like, you know what, we should probably be doing this in phases because we kind of really only planned for the Defenders, and this is going way better than we thought it was going to go. So I'm pretty sure that they're probably sitting back now, like, we need to phase this out somehow. This needs to be in phases. This may
be me looking into things a little too strangely, but after each episode, there was the ABC Studios logo. Did you notice that?
I noticed that. I noticed it with I was like,
I'm not sure if it's been in the past Netflix series before.
I don't recall it being there. And it wasn't like a big ABC logo.
Yeah,
but it did catch my eye.
Yeah. And they referenced it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know that much. So maybe I think they'll probably end up crossing over before the cinematic universe, whenever if and when that happens,
I think so too. I think that would be awesome.
or
Like,
whatever Control takes over by then.
I love what Marvel is doing, and that's one of the things like that I'm just waiting for. Is I'm waiting for them to get back certain properties, or do other partnerships with certain properties,
Mm-hmm.
or B, I'm waiting for the movies to cross over with the TV shows. And I would love to see like Agent Coulson pop up on one of the Netflix shows. Or now they got Ghost Rider. I'd love to see Ghost Rider pop up like on Punisher or something.
Have you been watching Agents of Shield?
No, I have not. I have not been watching it. I watched some of the first season. I liked it, especially because a lot of the first season was coming out around the time the movies were coming out. So it was a lot of crossover stuff. Like I watched an episode they had that took place right after the Winter Soldier, like literally the week after the Winter Soldier came out.
I think that's when I started kind of watching it around there, because I tried the first season, but I really couldn't get into it. But by the end of the second season, I was like, okay, they got me hooked. I'll watch it. So and then that's why I want to get into it, because now after the second season on, that's when they really started getting into the comic book stuff. Like that's when they start having like the Inhumans and stuff pop up, and now Ghost Rider. They did Secret Warriors at the end of the second season. Something there a little bit, but not too crazy. But it was cool though. I still need to finish. I have volume 1 of that. I still need to finish the rest of those.
I would love to start getting into Agents of Shield.
Yeah, I'm mainly like when it comes to, I guess like the network stuff. CW is like killing it.
So they got it on lock, especially now that they got Supergirl. They got Supergirl. They're about to shut it all the way down.
I've been like, it took me a minute to watch Supergirl. If they finally added it to Netflix, so I've been like, watching it a little bit. It's not bad. I think it's gonna be better on CW, because on ABC it had like that ABC.
It had an ABC look to it.
Yeah. And
they had the rule where there's no Superman.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's really holding that show back a lot.
Yeah.
We can have Superman villains pop up, but we can't have Superman.
And Superman storylines.
Yeah. But we can't, like they had Bizarro Supergirl in there.
Yep.
You know, and it's like that kind of holds the character back. And the reason that Arrow and Flash work so well is they're good shows. They are good shows, but it's because they're doing the Marvel
I'm really
thing.
hoping on Arrow to ramp up, like especially because I like Arrow because they started it all. Like, but the second season is my favorite, but I'm hoping like it gets better this season.
I thought you were going to say that
for me.
you like the I'm losing it. You like the I was gonna say Deadshot. It's not Deadshot. Deathstroke. Yeah. Why did my brain just have a brain fart?
There's so
yes, you like the Deathstroke season. Deadpool, Deathstroke.
Yeah, they're
Deadshot.
They're made off of each other, which is funny.
Yeah, I know. Blade and Wade. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured you was gonna say you like the Deathstroke season.
Yeah, it was a good season.
Which is to me is the best season. Yeah. Is the Deathstroke season. That is the best season.
And they have Mr. Terrific now, which is cool.
I know
they need to use him.
He's going to be Mr. Terrific this season.
Yeah,
because now
I want to see the T on his face.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for too. I want to see the T. But he's training like a bunch of. They're going to have Artemis too.
Okay.
Because this season he's going to be training new people who start being vigilantes.
A little Young Justice team-ish.
Yeah, kind of.
But
in order to, what he's probably going to do is to keep them from going the route that he went. He's going to, I'll give you guys training and focus everything so that you guys can be good heroes.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, he's going to have vigilantes who are like, we don't need all that. So I think it's going to be a good season. But with them
I hope
having
so.
it was got to be because with them having Supergirl now, one of the great things about Flash and Arrow was the yearly crossover.
Yeah,
I love the crossover. But now they have a show on 4 nights out the week,
which is
and
awesome. Which is insane.
and they're going to they're going to have a 4 night crossover where all 4 shows have a crossing over storyline.
Are they all musicals or just like a couple of them?
Oh no, they're I think Flash is going to have a musical one.
Okay.
Just because of his background, because he came from Glee. He was on Glee.
Yeah, I think Supergirl too. She was on Glee too at some point.
Was she?
Yep.
Well, I know they're doing one on Flash, and he had the one episode where he actually sung on the show, and people who didn't know he's from Glee were like, "Hey, he can sing."
Yeah, and Iris's dad, he can actually sing
his
too.
episode. Yeah, he had the episode Earth 2. Him was a jazz singer.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're going to be able to do a 4 night crossover. No, they're not all going to be musicals.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be some kind of like because did you see the last season of Flash?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm still waiting for it to come on Netflix.
Okay, but so you know that they're doing the Flash paradox now, the Flashpoint.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with that.
I think the Flashpoint is going to be their excuse to bring Supergirl into the same universe and to have some kind of big overarching story. Because I mean that's a big deal. Flashpoint's a big deal.
Yeah.
Even if you do it on a small scale, you gotta make that a big deal.
Exactly.
You have 4 shows that can use so many of the DC characters, and now they can use Superman. So you have to do something with that.
No doubt. Well, we got on a little rant again. That's how we do.
We did. We were talking about Luke Cage, and I was. You brought your Defenders, and I was going to say that I was talking about this earlier, and I said it would come up later. This is actually
nice
first comic I had with the first heroes I was introduced to, and on the back, if anybody can see this, my first 3 superheroes were Storm, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage.
Power Man himself.
Yes. And yes, this is when he was just Power Man. They weren't really calling him Luke Cage. He was Power Man.
It's funny too, because like when I got into comics, like that's when I went to Laughing Ogre. That's like the first thing I went and got. I went and picked up a whole bunch of back issues of Power Man and Iron Fist, and was just like, yep, oh yeah,
this is the stuff.
Yeah, and like they're a good team too, because like Marvel like crossed over. You know, Luke Cage and with Power Man, like, cause I think one book wasn't selling, so it's like cross both of them, like Black Exploitation and then Kung Fu, bam, and then you got
at the right time, but back when both of those were like popular, so why not?
Yeah. Have you been reading any of the comics recently?
Say that again?
Have you been reading any of the Power Man Iron Fist comics lately?
No, I've been wanting to get into them, especially since didn't they just relaunch a series of Iron Man and Power Fist?
Yeah, I think I'm like 3 behind right now. It's been really good so far. They're still in the same series right now.
Okay.
Luke Cage has his own book coming out soon.
Again?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. The artwork looked really weird on it, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get into Luke Cage and Iron Fist, especially since I watch a bunch of the animated features too and the TV shows and stuff, and I know I think it was Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. It was the first Avengers cartoon they had on Disney XD like 6 years ago. I want to say 7 maybe.
Okay.
But one of the good things about that show, and one of the things I like about what Marvel is doing with their animated TV shows, is for younger kids who are interested in comics, and maybe might not know how to go about getting into them or about all the different characters.
Yeah.
They're starting to do what they do in the movies, where they're using characters that most people don't know about. And there is a couple of episodes on that where they introduce Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Okay, nice.
And it's awesome the way that they do it, and you see their personalities and the way that they interact with each other. And on one hand, you're kind of like, how they interacted? Like, it makes perfect sense that they would be friends.
That's good. That's what. Yeah, and it's funny in the new issue, like Jessica Jones, like isn't like a huge fan of Danny Rand trying to get the team back together, and
Of
Danny's,
course not.
Yeah, Danny's always like, tell her I said hey, and Luke never tells her. And he's like, she doesn't like me, does she? She's like, no, she just thinks you talk too much or something like that. I think it's some good writing. I'd definitely check it out.
Good old Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Yeah. What else can Netflix do? Everything, right? So
yeah, I'm about to say everything.
Yeah.
They
overall,
can do everything that Marvel Pictures doesn't want to touch.
Yes. Overall, out of I guess a 10, what would you give Luke Cage?
Luke Cage, I would probably give Luke Cage a 10.
10. All right.
Like that's dead honest. I would probably give it a 10. It met my expectations and exceeded my expectations. It's just like season 2 of Daredevil. Like I love the first season, but season 2 met what I was expecting and then some.
Okay.
So like yeah,
Nice.
Luke Cage is a must see. Even if you're not necessarily really a fan of superheroes and everything,
Yeah,
because
you don't have to be.
He's got superpowers and everything, but he's juggling and struggling with like real life situations.
Yes, it's very grounded, like very grounded, and anyone can relate to the show. Like it's
Even if you can't relate to the character Luke Cage, you can relate to the environment that he's in.
Yes,
and the people around him.
and they touched on about every little social thing that's going on today.
Oh, they did,
insane.
and that was one of the crazy things I was noticed while I was watching. I was like, it's like they made this specifically for this point in time in American history. Like so much of this is exactly stuff that's going on that we see on the news all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
at one point it was like I had thought about because when Method Man was rapping.
Oh man,
that was
Bulletproof.
dope. Yeah.
Bulletproof hero.
Yeah. That'll be the intro to this episode. If we can find it,
hero.
I'll have to record it. But yeah, when he was rapping, he had mentioned Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
And I was just like, imagine if this show wouldn't have been made until like if it was coming out, like say a year ago. Like how many names he could have named off. Like the song spoke like wildfire. The whole season spoke wildfire. There was like a couple like slow episodes for me, but overall, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5
out of 10.
That's a respectable rating. out of 10 TRs.
Yeah.
That's a respectable rating. That's
yeah.
a respectable rating.
No doubt. Man, this has been fun. Let's see. Anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, not really. I do have one more interesting fact about Power Man, about Luke Cage. I forgot to mention this earlier. Every episode of Luke Cage is a Gangstar title.
Yes, yeah. And
so every episode is the title of a Gangstar song, which I thought was creative to do something like that.
Yes. And I've been meaning I wanted to go back. I'm going to go back at some point and I haven't listened to Gangstar in a while now. I've been meaning to go back and listen to some of his songs.
I think they should do, I'm sure someone's probably already working on it online. Like someone's probably about to put up a YouTube video in a couple of days or something. But it'd be interesting to see if somebody compiled an album based off of the Luke Cage titles.
Oh.
So that you have a reference for what each episode is, because each episode is kind of supposed to also be based around what that title of that song is.
Yeah, I remember them. I think at one point the directors said like each one is like almost like a music video, like you're watching a music video, and it kind of feels like that, especially like when they had like the opening with the bands playing and whatnot.
Yeah, I think especially since it took place in Harlem and they talked a lot about the Harlem Renaissance, which I love that they did that. It made sense for music to play a big part in that show. but not just music, art in general, because they talked about because the Harlem Renaissance was more than just music, but they had a lot of the artwork in Harlem that was there. They did talked about a lot of the poets and stuff that came from Harlem.
Yeah.
You know, they talked about, you know, the jazz musicians,
Activists.
The activists, like everything.
Yeah, when he had when the guy had the gun pointed at him, and he was like, "Do you know who died across the street?" Like,
and which was funny because when they first showed the outside of that building, and they didn't say what it was called, but I saw the sign.
mm-hmm.
I was like, "That's Crispus Attucks," and my girl was like, "Who?" I was like, "That's Crispus Attucks," and I had to explain like who Crispus Attucks was, and was like. Even she was like, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, most people don't know that.
For those who don't know, let them know.
Crispus Attucks is the first American who was killed during the Revolutionary War. He was a free black man, and he was the first victim when the British decided to start shooting. I forgot where it was. It could have been up in New York somewhere. I don't really remember that part, but I know that he was the first American to die in the Revolutionary War. So the first actual American to die was a black guy. He wasn't a slave. He's a free black guy. And a lot of people don't know that. And they made this a focus to have that name in this show constantly because the building was called the Crispus Attucks. I forgot what the rest of the title was of the building.
It was long.
But it was long, but it was named after him.
Yeah. And there's our first fact from our podcast.
First historical fact.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to see when the new Luke Cage comic comes out.
So I thought that was all of that was awesome. Like all the commentary, all the history that was in the show, just everything about it was great. And I think that especially in the coming weeks, I think that this is going to be a show that may pick up with casual fans, hardcore fans.
Yeah, new fans.
It's
gonna educate people.
I know
some people.
I know back in the 70s, I believe it was, when Marvel was probably in one of his biggest heydays. I know that Stan did a lot of lectures and stuff at colleges because Marvel comics were popular with college students, and a lot of the counterculture and a lot of the people who were doing the protests and everything. Like they read Silver Surfer, Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. And I kind of think that this show, the way it's set up, has the potential to be one of those things where like a lot of possible activists or human rights protesters, or I think a lot of those people can pick things from this show.
Yeah.
And like, I think this is going to speak to a lot of people in a lot of different situations, a lot of different scenarios. I think it's an entertaining show, but I think it's going to speak to a lot of people.
No doubt, and that was definitely their goal of this. What first Bulletproof brother was like mentioned throughout, like especially during the end.
Yeah,
like mentioned throughout the whole thing.
It was mentioned the whole thing, and the fact that they were like, black superhero. Of course, he has to be bulletproof.
Yeah,
of course, the black superhero has to be bulletproof. But overall, Luke Cage, great show, great character. The way they did him, he didn't want gain from his power. He just wanted to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
A reluctant hero.
I gotta send you the cover. I'm gonna send you the cover right now to the new Luke Cage cover whenever it drops. Oh, it comes out in October. They got him back in the tiara.
Oh, they brought the tiara back.
Hopefully it's just the cover. We'll see. We'll see, though.
Let's see. I'm waiting for this. Oh, wow.
For everyone listening, we're looking at Marvel's new run once coming in October. Cage
October
is getting a
5th.
solo book. Yep, October 5th. The writer is Jindy Tartakovsky. Looks like
that's who that is.
They're doing everything, pencil and cover.
Yeah. I think it's funny the artwork that they have on that cover, because it kind of reminds me almost of you ever seen the Black Dynamite cartoon?
I I've seen a couple episodes, but it's been a while.
That cover kind of reminds me of like maybe the intro to Black Dynamite. Like it's kind of got that. It's cartoony a little bit, but it's kind of got that classic
Yeah,
black
I see what you
exploitation look
mean.
to it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder. I don't know what Iron Fist is doing. I told you about that. Well, people, we're gonna start probably rambling now, but I told you about that Iron Man MF or Doom taking
Yeah,
over Iron Man suit.
yeah,
I haven't been reading the Iron Man comic, so I'm interested to see. And they got Riri coming out too.
yeah. She's about to officially take over.
Yeah, so I just want Marvel to get past the Civil War and try and I don't know, get a game plan. Trying to I don't know, focus because like I don't know, DC has a plan right now. It doesn't really seem Marvel has a plan.
No, they're just kind of event by event.
Yeah, and like Inventor can be fun. Like Secret Wars is awesome. Um, that was some great storytelling, but yeah, it took a while, and then it overlapped the new stuff that was coming out.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Uh,
Because I was on I had pull lists for Secret Wars and then a pull list for some of the new stuff coming out and I was getting new stuff while Secret Wars were still coming out. I was like, well, I don't want to read the new stuff because I don't want Secret Wars spoiled.
mhm.
Because I think the new Amazing Spider-Man run started while Secret Wars were still going on.
Yeah, I
I
think
want
so.
to I want to say Hawk started
Ant-Man started
and
too, I
I
think.
think Ant-Man did start. There was a couple other ones that started while Civil War was still going on,
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't really want to read them because I don't want to have it spoiled for me,
right.
especially because how massive Secret Wars is. Now some of the people watching who read Secret Wars may not think that it was massive, but when I say massive, it's because I had every tie-in also on top of the regular series, and it was like
Which is
what nine?
insane. That's
It was
insane.
like what a nine run for the regular series, like was it like
Yeah,
nine
nine.
issues?
Supposed to be eight, but I'm glad they did nine.
Yeah, but then every other tie-in had at least two to like what 3 or 4 issues in his
Yeah,
run, and
I don't think I read. I don't think I read any of the tie-ins for that. I wanted to
but
read
they
Secret Wars 2, I think. Was that the goof? That had
I
the goofy cover on it, I think.
yes
Yeah, that looked
yes
interesting.
I I have Secret Wars 2, have not read it yet. I got the trade to it this I think it was this past year at Wizard World
Okay,
because I got Secret Wars and then they had Secret Wars 2 and I was like, well, I'm getting one, why not go ahead and get two now?
right.
But it has like a if I remember correctly, it's a goofy cover, but it looks almost like they were trying to go for like an Alex Ross cover almost. Like they
Okay.
wanted that kind of artwork.
Alex Ross has been cranking them out lately for that Spider-Man series. I see the all new. I think not all new. Amazing Spider-Man. He's been doing some
I say
covers for
it'd
that.
be amazing.
Let's see what comics are coming out next week. From the major two, DC, we got Batman 8, which is I think it's still the Night of the Monsters crossover, which I'm still skipping for now. We got the Aquaman. I don't read too many DC books, surprisingly. Like I stick with like my favorite heroes. See Justice League below. Green Arrow's been fun. Have you been reading that at all?
No, but I've been hearing that Green Arrow has been really good.
Yeah, I definitely picked that up. Let's see, from Marvel. All Day Wolverine 13.
Uh
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, Cage 1's next.
oh.
Is
Okay.
next week. Let's
Uh
talk
oh.
about. You want to get that and talk about that next week?
Yes, I
Cool.
think we should put the Cage is going to be on there.
For sure. Doctor Strange. I haven't been following that.
I haven't either since they started the all new.
Jessica
I
Jones
did.
drops too.
Oh, I forgot they were doing a new Jessica Jones series.
Okay. So everyone who's listening, we're still figuring out this formula. We're going to talk about comics. This is just a special episode because Luke Cage was just happening to be on while we wanted to do our first episode. So we thought it was a good time. Normally we're going to choose comic books, talk about comic books. But we know for sure Cage won.
Cage.
That's cool. Jessica Jones is dropping. I'll definitely have to read that. And then,
I think it's funny that they're dropping Jessica Jones and Cage around the same time.
Right. I mean, I don't know. It took them long enough to do that. They should have done Jessica Jones when the season was coming out.
Yeah, they should have.
They had that one shot, but that was about it.
Because they're probably going to try to give it a little bit more of the tone of what the show was now.
True.
It's Marvel. They're gonna shoot for that tone.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of odd job book we should read. We'll talk about that after the show. But cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening. This is our first episode. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
We don't even know each other. We met via Facebook comic group. And I was like, hey, you want to do a podcast? He was like, yeah. And Alan was like, yeah. And we got to line up and work out. So we're going to keep doing these. It's been fun. It is fun. We want to again thank you for listening. Anyone, you're on Twitter much, Alan?
Yeah.
Where can they find you at?
I mean, I'm kind of sort of on Twitter.
Yeah.
I have a Twitter account, but
I just got one only so I could start following comic book artists.
Well, if anybody is trying to follow me on Twitter, I am at K from the Grind. That's all one word. That's pretty much how you can find me on anything, whether it be Twitter, Instagram. Just search K from the Grind.
Cool. Yeah, my Twitter handle is at DeepGuts, DeepGuts. You can find me there. We'll have a website. We'll get some iTunes up at some point. A little Podbean, wherever you put these little podcasts. But again, thanks for listening. And this is the Columbus Comics Corner. Peace. Next week we'll be discussing Luke Cage #1. Harley Quinn #5, Green Arrow #8, All New Wolverine #13, and the Almighty He-Man Thundercats #1. We'll see you next week.